With the flags of many waving through a truly unique time in history, the very best fighter of the most beloved nations will descend onto the proving ground. They will look to display a showcase of athleticism, passion, and grit. Two men on a mission to prove the doubters wrong. First, Johnny 2049. The former undisputed champion looks to begin his ascension to the top once again, to once more hold the gold at the top of the mountain known as Primetime MMA. This time, faith is at a crossroads, and Johnny 2049 intends to take his faith into his own hands and once again fulfill his destiny as a true champion. This one is for Iceland. But in order for Johnny to rise in the rankings once again, he must face an old guard, a seasoned veteran with more to give before he sets off into the sunset. Enter Spartan Moore, a man who has emerged from the skepticism and rode upon a supernova of prime time. Tonight, the young man from Ireland looks to once again leave his Celtic heart inside the octagon and show prime time once again why he is a Spartan of war. He lives by the motto, it's all in or nothing in this business, and I'm all in. Spartan Moore is ready for the battle that is ahead of him. He bleeds green, white and orange. He bleeds for his countryman, but most importantly, he bleeds for his family. As he holds his head above is his beating heart before battle, and prays to the Celtic god above to send him the power through his ever devastating left hand. With all that being said though, strap in for a roller coaster of tonight and brace yourselves for a battle between two of the most violent men in primetime history. Welcome to Primetime.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Primetime MMA. Once again, we are back on this lovely Friday night. I am TMM Reaper, joined in the booth by Rara and Doc. And Rara, tell me, man, are you excited for tonight or what?
I'm absolutely buzzing. It cannot be a better card than this one, to be honest. It's the fights you've got going on here. You've got fights like in the main event, obviously Spartan Moore and Johnny, two absolute units, I'll say. And then looking further down the card, we've seen fan favourite Bulk Up Bully, of course.
Yeah, you do. Just this in there from Rara, the introduction written by the man in the commentary booth, Reaper here. Always good to have you writing the introductions. But moving on to the card, as you mentioned earlier, you had the main event of Spartan Moore versus Johnny. A very good fight. Johnny formerly losing to Trials War in, one would say, a one-sided beatdown, so it's definitely going to be looking at Johnny trying to come back, looking to restate himself as a possible contender later down the line. But just below that, you also have Bossman versus Jakey. Bossman, first coming on with a 2-fight win streak, did have a last loss, but only to a top 5 opponent in Leaks. And now he's got Jakey on the doorstep to go against, so that's a fun fight. Overall, you got big balls. Ned on this card, you've got, I think Ginger's also fighting on this card, the late replacement fighting the ever mighty FSK Optics, and then of course you got the second fight with Warbsy here, Reaper.
Yeah, Doc, as you said there, the card is stacked. Rara said the card is stacked. Yourself there calling down some of the fights. Now you've got the ever-loving Bulk Up Bully there. He's main event in the prelims, you know. Bulk Up Bully's a bit of a character in the community. You got some people that are happy with him, some people that aren't too happy with his style. I say let it show as it is. And then you have obviously the main event there, Spartan Moore versus Johnny 2049. Two kickboxers, two absolute brawlers. And as you said, Doc, you know, Johnny 2049, he was a part of a one-sided beatdown against Trials War, who is Spartan Moore's campmate, teammate, his friend. So maybe Johnny's got a little bit of revenge coming up for Spartan Moore tonight, Rara.
Oh yeah, definitely. His former teammates, definitely. They're going to have a bit of revenge going on, and I'm looking into another fight as well. Storminator v Kevin P. Is that the same Kevin P? I don't know.
I believe so. That is a slight change from the original card graphic, just on a side note here. Oh no, it is. Sorry, apologies. We are correct on the graphic.
Same fight?
Same fight.
We're correct there. But two very good. Former TMF member Kevin P. He was a very good fighter from what I used to know about him. Used to very clean little boxing on him. And Storminator, I don't really know a lot about him, because I've been away a while. I haven't really been paying attention. But if any of you two want to tell me about him,
I
it'd be nice.
believe the Stormlanter's got some fairly good striking, fairly well adjusted. I think he joined up with the TFA camp, got some good striking, did leave again, but hey ho, that's the way it goes. You adapt, you leave camps, you come back, and then you just readjust to your playstyle. But without further ado, Reaper, we got the first fight of this evening. It's going to be on the PlayStation side in the featherweight division. LW Mix versus Ritz.
Yeah, and that's a great way to kick off the card, Doc. You know, in the featherweight division, we're getting a bit of a smaller guy here. It's a maximum of 4 stars. It looks like we're going for a Dan Hooker versus Jeremy Stephens. I like that matchup. That's a solid matchup in the featherweight division. You know, you have the reach of Hooker versus the power of Stephens, and you know, if you're making this decision, you kind of have to think Hooker does have the advantage here, being the longer fighter with the reach.
The reach advantage for Hooker's gonna be very, very beneficial, but you've got to bear in mind that the power that Jeremy Stephens does possess, you've got to be careful as Dan Hooker is. Yeah, you can throw a jab and a cross and while coming in, but if Stephens gets in, you've got to think that it could potentially take about 3 or 4 punches to end Dan Hooker's night.
Well, you do have Dan Hooker about a 96 chin and fairly similar recovery all round. So in terms of that overall health stats, Hooker can take a beating. But it's Jeremy Stephens, as we said, he's the hardest pushing 145 and let alone punching. And you already see that Hooker's having a bit of difficulty establishing this range. If I'm Hooker, I'm going to play on the back foot. I'm going to use that jab. I'm going to look for those teeps and start opening up, make Stephens wanting to come forward. But instead, though, Hooker seems to be the one coming forward here, Reaper.
He is indeed, Doc, and that did surprise me, I have to say, coming forward with the longer fighter. You know, Hooker, he's one to fight off the back foot. So maybe Ritz is using him in a different way, but as Jeremy Stephens rips a beautiful 3-piece of the body there, that will definitely take away their cardio quite quick.
Definitely. It seems that Stephens is looking for a bit of a combo, one to the head, one to the body, just like peppering him at the moment, just to see what will work. And the pace of this fight at the moment in the first minutes, very high tempo. It seems to be that Jeremy Stephens is landing slightly cleaner shots, Doc.
Cleaner shots maybe, heavier shots would also be the case when you're Jeremy Stephens. You're landing the clean shots as the power puncher. They're going to be hitting harder, and against someone like Hooker, that's exactly what you want to be doing. There though, you see that jab strike coming out, poking and prodding constantly, but I feel like Hooker really needs to slow his pace down, because otherwise you can see that gas tank is taking so long to recover because he's always firing out. He's not letting his stamina recover, and that's been probably the biggest issue here. If Stephens can time a couple well-placed strikes to the body, that's going to slowly dig that stamina down, as it already has done so far here, Reaper.
Yeah, Doc, you're spot on as well. You know, with Dan Hooker pushing the pace, it's all well and good he's got his opponent trapped here, you know, but Jeremy Stephens, being the shorter fighter, can dip out of range a lot easier. You know, he can duck down, get out of range, but then again, you also go onto the other side of Dan Hooker being the longer fighter, right? If he's in the pocket and Jeremy Stephens is going to the body as much as he is, even in this round, you know, you got to be careful of an uppercut eating a knee, because you're a lot closer to the person's waist than you are to their head if you're Jeremy Stephens here, Rara.
He's definitely a lot closer. But you got to think as well, because Hooker's a bit taller than Jeremy Stephens, that it's going to take him longer to block to the body than it would for Stephens. So on the inside, as he hits him there with another good combo, you can see that like it's taking Hooker longer to get those punches out because of the reach when Stephens is on the inside, Doc.
Yep. Although another jab is right there, Lee lands that stamina reaching that halfway point. He needs to slow down his pace. He just needs to stay steady and careful here.
Yeah, he does. You know, he is pushing the pace, and I feel like at the moment he's doing well, but at the beginning of the fight he was definitely missing a lot more than he was landing, and it's cost him his stamina. And as you said, Doc, you know, he's not letting his stamina deplete, he's not letting his head health regenerate.
But that body shot there as well, that's going to do more damage to the stamina, and that's kind of this idea here, especially if you're fighting someone who's got the health stats of Hooker. If you can make them gas out, your vulnerability window increases here, Rara, and so power plus vulnerability doesn't make for a fun time in any sense here.
It doesn't end of the round, mate. You've got to be giving that Jeremy Stephens. He's just landed a lot cleaner, and if you're in the corner of Dan Hooker going into this second round, you're going to want to get a bit further back, try and poke and prod at Stephens a bit more, not let him get any on the inside, Reaper.
Yeah, 100%, Rara. You know, and even if you're coming forward with Dan Hooker, you know, use your teeps. They're there, you know. Use your teeps to back him up. Don't just come in with a jab, because he's coming in with a lot of jabs and he's getting slip straight a lot. And then, as you guys can see, when he gets slip straight, he gets the double uppercuts to the body and he gets dropped. So, Doc, with that being said, and I know you're going to hate me for saying this, Doc, because we're only in round 2, but would wrestling be against the game plan here if you're Dan Hooker?
If you're getting beat on the feet, the next place to take it is on the feet. However, Hooker did manage to get a stun there, coming back forward, though Stevens is, and he's just putting his pressure. Lovely slip of that straight, does get clipped afterwards, putting his pressure back on that jab, a lead hook. The body shot there by Stevens is landing. If Stevens just stays patient, let Hooker overextend. Hooker seems to fall in, he seemed to have been tentative towards the end of round 1, then got clipped here, felt more confident, and now I feel like that's going to be more of the deficit here as you see him dig down to the body and up to the head again.
Hooker rightfully switching back his stance to southpaw. Or was it orthodox? I don't know the difference. Seriously though, like, you got to think that Hooker, he needs to just keep Stevens away from him, and like Reaper has said, use the tools to keep him away as he gets caught again. The power, he can't handle it. Absolutely domination at the moment from Stevens in my eyes, Reaper.
It is, it's a one-sided beatdown at this point. And I'm just thinking, Ritz should have probably picked Jeremy Stevens if he was going to go with this game plan. He's definitely looking to be the aggressor of the fight, as seen in round 1 and very, very early in round 2 before getting clipped again and pushed onto the back foot. But I'd still like to see him come in with the teeps. He's still staying right in the pocket with Jeremy. And Doc, you know full well what kind of power Jeremy Stevens possesses. And as you guys can see here, he's thrown out 4 to 5 piece coming. Now he's rocked again.
I mean, I'm impressed by his defense. You've got to give him that much here, Reaper. But again, he gets clipped again. It's just the case of Stevens just landing shot after shot and standing hard, trying to get his finish here. Doesn't get it. Now pull back into the guard. Got 2 minutes left on the clock. Could you want to grapple instead, or is it just a case? But that stamina is so low that it makes it nigh impossible to grapple effectively here, Rara.
Oh, definitely. Because you've got to have a bit of stamina to be able to use your manoeuvres in grappling department, especially on the bottom though. If I'm Jeremy Stevens personally, he gets up to the feet. I was going to say that he could just sit in full guard and he'd have the round, but he's going to look for the finish, obviously, because you got the prime time ranking points, and a second round finish is going to look better. Potentially a third round one does say that.
And another knockdown. Lovely job. Does gut under though the shots, dig down to the body, uppercut there, does jump on him as well. Got 57 seconds left on the clock and a couple of shots looking to get the finish, and he does so. That was a wild fight, bit back and forth. Hooker definitely seemed like he was completely out of his element, although every time Stevenson looked like he was about to get ahead, as you saw at the end there, he got knocked down a couple of times. He's still a dangerous strike even when hurt here, Reaper.
He is, Jeremy Stevens he's quite a beast on this game, and he doesn't get a lot of love in the game. I think most people know Jeremy Stevens for the who the fuck is that guy, Conor McGregor quote. But Jeremy's a beast. He has some solid boxing, Rara, and you might just see more people pick him up here at featherweight after a performance like that.
Well, definitely, that's going to entice a lot of people to try him out at featherweight. And you got to think though, with the power that he does have, it makes him a lethal weapon to use in featherweight, as we did see there in that fight, Doc.
Yeah, he's just a lethal weapon. However, with that fight being done and dusted, we move on to our next fight of this evening. In this time, on the Xbox division, we have Warbsy versus Crystal, I believe.
Crystal?
Mm-hmm.
Crystal.
Nice name.
Nice name. Doesn't seem to match up with the game tag. We have Rough Racer 2007 to 208. 2,807, apologies. Close enough between the two. By the looks of it, though, we're going to get George Jorge.
It might be Rouge Racer, I think.
I can't read today, it seems, Rara.
You wouldn't worry.
Jesus, should put my glasses on. Anyhow, with that,
Diaz
we have... Yeah, exactly. Maybe for the BMF title again, maybe not. Hopefully, can only be 3 rounds. Both of these are mainly strikers. Definitely the striking advantage goes to Masvidal, you got to say here, Reaper, but you can't put Nate Diaz out of this all.
No, you can never count Nate Diaz out of a fight. And the good thing about it is it's at lightweight, right? That in real life contest was decided at welterweight. So you come in here to lightweight. Masvidal doesn't have the best stats here, Rara. So I believe that going into this fight, Crystal has made the better pick with the Nate Diaz.
Oh, definitely, because Nate Diaz is a lanky bastard and he can take a punch as well. You've seen that. The reach advantage, again, with Diaz could be beneficial. Obviously, with Masvidal being lowered, I think, from 4.5 stars to 4.
That's in the welterweight division. I don't believe those stats decreases were carried over, so I think actually maybe slightly possible that Masvidal has slightly better or similar stats to his welterweight counterpart. But in any case, if I'm Nick Diaz here, I'm going to be wanting to establish that jab, that strike, because that's his signature stuff. If you land that first jab, you land the strike straight afterwards. He's got very loose and effective boxing, and if you can just keep your opponent walking into those shots, keep them just on the very tips of those shots, you can have a very, very fluid boxing style.
Yeah, you're spot on, Doc, as well. And you know, Crystal's doing the right thing here. He's putting Masvidal on the back foot. He's double jabbing, he's single jabbing, he's straighting, and he goes for a body kick, gets caught, and lands a beautiful knee. So Diaz is doing the right things here, you know. And I feel like Masvidal at lightweight doesn't really have the cardio for 3 rounds that Nate would have. I feel like he may have to go for a quick finish, Rara.
Yeah, definitely. If you're Jorge Masvidal, you're going to want to look for a finish inside 1, because Nate Diaz could go for 30 rounds, let alone just 3. We've seen his cardio; it's insanely good. And as you can see here, he's just tapping him. Nate Diaz is able to just use the looping cross. It seems to work for him in this fight to connect with the face of Masvidal.
Well, you have the straight of Nick Diaz, but we also know that Nick Diaz's legs, probably his weakest point. You saw one leg kick earlier. I'd hope to see Masvidal come down and look to do those leg kicks. If he can get them on the go, that would then open up the head, because your opponent's worried about getting kicked in the legs. They're going to be wanting to check those leg kicks, and then that head starts opening up here, Reaper.
Yeah, Doc, 100%. Come here, listen. You work the legs. The hands are going to come down naturally to check that kick. You know. But, you know, it works the same way for the body if you're Masvidal. You know, you work the body of Diaz, you take away a bit of that stamina, you get that health down a tad bit. Suddenly, those hands drop too, and it just depends on what Masvidal's game plan is going to be here, Rara. As we kind of move into the first round, I'm kind of giving it to Diaz as we're going here.
Sure. I think it's Diaz's run at the moment, but I think Warbsy is just looking to feel out. Oh, no, sorry. Rogue, however you say his face. It's kind of feeling out Warbsy a bit more, using the looping strikes and staying quite far away from him to see what Warbsy might be throwing.
Ooh, that's a lovely 4-piece there. Diaz already shooting takedown. Seems like he's a bit concerned at the feet currently. Diaz drove that wild shot. He was having a lot of success with that jab straight, and now he's kind of given up. It's saying he probably should go back to it and making sure just to, like, exactly, your boxing's working. Don't worry about the kicking. Don't worry about anything else. If you just focus on that boxing style against Masvidal, it seems to be working. On the other hand, Masvidal is having a lot of success when he does get inside that pocket here, Reaper.
Yeah, definitely, you know. And for Crystal here, the Nate Diaz user, Crystal, he was having so much success, right, Doc, with the 1-2s, the double jab straights. You know, he was having great success in that first round. And then he kind of decided he wanted to be a kickboxer, and he started throwing more head kicks and then more body kicks, and he got a few caught, and he kind of paid for it a little bit. And it kind of gave, you know, Warbsy a bit of hope to say, oh, if he starts kicking with that slow animation, I can catch him in the pocket. So I feel like Warbsy's game plan might want to be is to now stand in the center and not give up too much space, Rara, and, you know, force him into that kind of, hopefully he throws a kick in range. He's probably hoping here.
Well, definitely, if he throws a kick in range, it could be very beneficial for Masvidal. And some nice shots there again, Warbsy. Brilliant little strikes at the most. Flurry of bit of action going on. They both seem to be trying tit for tat a bit, to be honest.
Warbsy seems to be getting the better engagement. For the fact he's a veteran, he's made the correct adjustments in realising what combos are landing, what combos are doing the damage. Nate Diaz has gone back to the same combos over and over again. You see the jab straight, and then you see just the jab straight, lead hook, rear hook, like so, and that's fine. It works. However, if your opponent has made adjustments, knows what combos to trade when and where, you're gonna have the issue. And right now, also, we could shoot a takedown with Nate Diaz just off the bat. He doesn't have turning takedowns, I'm pretty sure, and that makes your life extremely difficult, especially when you're fighting Warbsy. He's part of the BFAP camp. They're a bunch of grapplers, they're a bunch of strikers. They know how to do it. But Diaz, though, I'm impressed. He gets a takedown.
Oh,
He's waited for that takedown all fight. He's been looking for it. He missed the takedown the first round and the second round. He's looking to get into half guard, I think, here, but Warbsy is not giving up that position at all, Reaper.
no, Warbsy wants to keep him here in the guard. He doesn't want him passing. Doesn't want him getting into side control, side saddle, full mount. Doesn't want anywhere near that. But just right before that takedown on that rock, Masvidal actually had a good game plan there. And he probably slate me after if I get this wrong. But I feel like in round one, he was so much on the back foot, he said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to stand in the middle and I'm going to trade. And if my head hilt gets a tad bit low, I'll back out, let it regenerate, I'll come straight back in. So I think he's looking for a more of a kind of a plant and rip kind of style here now, Rara.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure, looking for that type of style, Doctor.
Now gets top mount here, lovely job. Just on a side note about Warbsy's style, as you were talking about earlier, whilst we have Nate Diaz trying to gain any type of position, is Warbsy typically looks for in some form to work your stamina down, plays off the back foot, works your stamina down, and then once that has crumbled, he will then start putting on the pressure. In this case, Diaz was getting a bit more success, it seems like, with those jab straights, general distance, and so instead he's probably made the adjustments, made the changes to his entire playstyle, does try to go for a flying knee, does get blocked however, and now we're back into the action here, Rara.
Definitely, and Masvidal seems to just be looking for another shot to just finish off Nate Diaz, because both of them, like I've said before, they're trying tit for tat, but I've got to say I think Nate Diaz has come slightly better off of the exchanges, and Masvidal needs to probably reevaluate on the stall going into the third round what he's going to do. He lands a nice kick there, but it isn't in the right range, Reaper.
Yeah, I was having a look there at that second round, Doc, and I have to say, I didn't notice it up until late there toward the end of the bell. Masvidal's kind of pulled the head held back a good bit, so it's definitely telling how much power Masvidal can carry on through the fight.
Yeah, I do agree. Health stats normally a good indication of how the round is playing out so far, though. Got a jab, a lead hook there, both on their block of each other, so that's still fairly up. So overall, they've still got that option, but it looks like the head health is fairly stable as well as the general stamina, so both of them have done a good job at managing it. It's just a case of who will find the first opening. I think Diaz does need to adapt, change his combos in some respect, because otherwise he's going to get clipped here.
Yeah, definitely, and you can see he has been getting
Oh,
quite a
well,
bit.
bloody hell.
Shit.
Jesus Christ. Okay, if you want to see a dead body, Masvidal has produced one, it seems. That went from slow pace to that. I think Nate Diaz may need a new neck. Oh.
Jesus.
Keep your hands up even when you swear. Even when you major lunge, make sure to keep your hands up, because otherwise that is the type of stuff that happened. That was only the first, maybe even second head kick only, and that was the way that went. Fantastic time by Warbsy there, Reaper.
It was absolutely spectacular time. He stood in the pocket, he wanted to trade, and Diaz went to major lunge, and yet you have to lunge with your hands up, but you cannot rush to someone's power side with your hands down and not meet chin to chin. So congratulations to Warbsy. He pulled it out. He was having a tough time in round one. He was having a tough time in round two. Round three, he said, you know what? I want this fight more, so I'm going to take it, Rara.
Oh, definitely. He just wanted it like a little bit more, Warbsy. And the timing on that head kick, you could probably hear the crack from the commentary booth. In the commentary booth. And Doc,
well, ladies and gentlemen, it would appear we've lost Rara and Doc, so I am going to do my best to take over until one of those boys decide to come back to me. I have Rara back. So, Rara, just before we get into the third fight, tell me, did you foresee Warbsy pulling that one out?
Oh no, I didn't see it. But he was kind of setting it up throughout the fight, like with that kick. It was about the fourth time he'd thrown it, to be honest, and the sway probably in that direction wasn't the smartest move from Crystal, if I'm being honest.
Crystal was having a great round 1 and 2, and Warbsy just said, you know what, enough's enough. We're just going to have to end this bleeding fight and do it like I did in real life, except I'm going to take your head clean off your shoulders and snap your neck in half. But rah, with that being said, right, let's talk about the next fight. Let's talk about the upcoming fight. KIA Hardy versus TMM Tasty Shots, a campmate of mine. I will try to remain neutral in this one, rah.
Indeed, you will. This Harry fella, I don't know anything about him really. He's been part of the KIA camp. Gonna say he's quite good at the game because they have a very like adverse range of things going on over there. On that end.
Well, when you say quite good, we do have Reaper, he's had an interesting time in PT. Maybe Tasty Shot will have a better time. You're never particularly sure. On the other hand, you have Harry. It is the welterweight division. Looks like we're going to see a return of Masvidal, but we're also going to see a McGregor pick. So it's definitely going to maybe even more slightly bias you in this fight here, Reaper.
Yeah, you know, I try to make a promise to always remain neutral in the commentary booth, but
You've never heard Humble then.
I've never heard Humble. Humble is the most unbiased man I know in this
You
league.
should hear him sometimes. It's kind of incredible, but
Oh god.
I might have to take a leaf out of Humble's book here, and I'm going to obviously root and tell you that Tasty Shots is one of the best probably, if not the best person in TMM, and he's got a wicked McGregor. He's a wicked kickboxer, and I'm gonna say first round KO going his way.
well, we're already off to a good start. You went into a hook, you got met with another one. The head movement already coming into a bit of trouble there. You've seen nearly duck into the uppercut as well. That lead hook does go for a body shot. That's fancy, but doesn't necessarily do all the damage here, though. It seems like Masvidal's just walking him down. The lead hook's there. Both of them slipped that straight there. I'm surprised McGregor's leg didn't buckle under just the anticipation. And now we see both of them going at it. So far, Masvidal's having the most success, but McGregor seems fairly calm and fairly slow-paced here. Rara.
Seems like a bit of a feeling out process for both fighters at the moment. But I've been looking in the chat and this. Oh,
The
he's caught him
balls
there,
on
Harry.
that head movement. That half of that
Chat
wasn't
ball
blocked,
going,
and that was
explodes.
okay. Have we got a new Night Legacy?
It's quite popular. This chart.
I don't know whether to. Yeah, I'll give credit where credit's due. It's effective head movement to a point, but if you don't counter off it, it doesn't do much in terms of damage. You either see Zelo the finish from Masvidal trying to get the finish with the ground and pound. Doesn't do it now. McGregor gets denied. Does go for the get up. Doesn't get it. On the other hand, now get straight back up onto his feet here.
Oh, beautiful.
Caught there. It's an absolute war at the moment from both fighters.
Does duck it, does miss that slip hook. That was a fantastic job. And again, it seems like Tasty Shot's main thing here is the head movement. He just needs to make sure to build counters off the head movement to really make sure it opens up. Lovely little fucking combo there.
Yeah, it was very nice. You know, Tasty Shot's one of those guys who, when you're sparring him, he does it on purpose. He moves his head, right? He's like a Floyd Mayweather almost. Oh, shit. Yeah, as I was saying, he's like Floyd Mayweather. He does a lot of defensive head movement to drain your stamina and then attack the body. It's not working out too well for him right now, but I still have the confidence that he can pull this one back. He just needs to switch up his head movement and maybe leave the body alone for a minute and go for the head, Rara.
Definitely, I think at the moment Harry has got him on the ropes and he needs to just reevaluate. He needs to get out of this top mount and does quite convincingly. Ooh, full guard though. Could potentially see a finish perhaps here, Doctor.
Well, it's also very interesting as you see that Harry's got half stamina. His opponent is fairly high on that stamina. His head health is gone. But just to bring it back to what we saw earlier on the feet, you saw the matter of the factor is Tasty Shots has got these counters, but Harry's making a read on them, and that's a high level version of striking. You don't see the average pullback of a pullback down in these types of fights a lot of time. This is a lot of high level striking and very impressive from both parties. Tasty Shots having a bit of difficulty in terms of the overall head movement. However, it's a competitive fight through and through.
Yeah. Sorry, Robert, you go ahead there.
Now you go.
You know, it's a Jesus Christ! Oh my God, my heart is breaking. Doc, save me from this, please.
Well, the head health looks shot to shit is the nice way to put it. Masvidal is having an easy time just knocking down the chin. McGregor does have a chance to try, but so far it seems to be a very uphill battle.
The chat seems to explode him with every single knockdown that happens in this, Harry. He's a very popular man with the people of the chat, from what I'm reading here.
That lead hook again, digs down.
there.
How didn't he bodies die? That is impressive there.
Two very good strikes, and it seems Masvidal is just able to get the better of him in this one. Unless he pulls a miracle out of his backside, Conor McGregor, and pulls it back.
Oh!
And I think we can hear Reaper bursting into literal tears.
That's
That's a tough pill to swallow as a former as a campmate of yours, Reaper, but sometimes that is why the cookie crumbles. However, it should be noted that the fight Tasty Shots did put on was impressive. The head movement, the ability to, the cockiness to move your head without blocking is something that is always mental, in my opinion, as well as that overall striking. He looked for the counters again. He stood a good chance at getting them. It's just his opponent read them, like he knew them, he understood them, and he just genuinely seemed to be a very good striker.
Yeah, you know, Tasty. I've known Tasty for a long time, and he's been in the community a long time. Me, and you know, it's tough to see him go out like that. But I know he'll be gutted more with himself than he'll understand. He doesn't need to be that gutted. It was a great performance. He was doing the right things, you know. Harry was just doing the things a little bit better. Rara.
Yeah, definitely. Harry could just read the head movement, and a lot of people aren't going to be able to read that head movement. So if I'm Tasty Shots, I'm going to go back to the lab and I'm going to work on the head movement, make sure that no one can read it, so no one knows where I'm going to go with my head movement. But that being said, we do move on to the next fight, Doctor. Yeah,
the next fight is a slight change to the one on the card. Instead of Evo fighting TMF Avoider, instead we have TMF's very own Kryptonite King, also co-owner of Primetime. We saw him once before fight Jakey, who's in the co-main event. But in women's weight now, we get to see them in featherweight. By the looks of it, we're going to have Avoider using the ever mighty Cub Swanson, whilst Crypto comes out and shows us his mighty Pettis. If I remember correctly, the last time we saw Crypto's Pettis, it was against the other co-owner of the league, Cyrus the Looney.
And speaking of Looney, I think he's going to be quite proud of Avoider picking that Cub Swanson, obviously.
It depends if... It would purely depend off if Avoider does Cub Swanson justice, I would say.
Yeah,
100%. You know, if Avoider wins this fight, he might be Looney's new best friend. You know, if he loses this fight, he's going to be his enemy.
Indeed, they're both from the Welsh place, so who knows, maybe the Welshness gives them this entire idea of wanting to play Cub Swanson, intriguingly enough. However, let's get into this. We have Pettis in the blue gloves being played by Kryptonite King. In the red gloves, we have a TMF Avoider using Cub Swanson.
You have to give the advantage here to Pettis, maybe, right? He's a little bit more flashy on the feet. Not saying that Cub isn't, but you know, Pettis does have some very flashy kicks, and you can get a lot of flashy knockouts with him. But it just depends on how you play him, right? You know, Cub's up there, right? Cub's a legend of the sport. He's up there in age, but he still has power to knock you out, and especially at this weight class, you know. Be careful.
Cub Swanson hits like a truck. But you got to think that if you're Anthony Pettis, you're going to want to use his kicks, because his kicking game is very good. Ooh, nice little hit there to the body. And Cub Swanson taunts. Says, is that all you got? It's brilliant to see at the moment. You got to think though that Pettis is going to just look to prod him from range with the vast reach advantage, though.
Well, you have a two chucks there, both of them throwing leg kicks. Not really much in terms of general boxing, but as I say that, we then have a lovely little boxing exchange there. Another kick a leg does there. Head kick also followed. So Avoider's having a bit of difficulty getting the defense. A Showtime kick comes out nowhere, and that is the type of stuff you expect to see from someone like Crypto here. Crypto will just throw random stuff as much as he can, and somehow he will time it well.
100%. I love watching Crypto fight.
He's great, and you know, Crypto's kind of treating this like it's a quick fight. He's not treating it like it's a league fight. He's kind of using this as a quick fight to to try out new things, Doc.
Well, this is kind of Crypto style. He's not looking to be really tight. He's looking to be loose, flowy. He's looking to be in and out. He's looking to switch stances. He doesn't use a lot of head movement, but what he does do is use a lot of footwork, use a lot of odd kicks just to make you wonder where you're going to exactly get hit next. And that's the issue of Voyager's Hammond here. He's trying to play this clean kickboxing style, expecting to be able to box and then kick, box, kick, or kick, then box, and he just isn't having it because Petiskin is just always out of that pocket here.
Sure. Yeah, Crypto is treating this like a quick fight. Like, that's his style, though. Like Doc House said, it's impressive to see, and Coulson hits that a couple of hard shots there to the chin of Pettis. I think, though, the left leg, I think it's the left leg, can't really see.
That is a way to make a comeback here, Pettis. That's the issue when you throw these types of kicks, though, is that one wrong side step can leave you in danger. The left kick, as you mentioned there, Rara, definitely hurt. If Crypto goes back to it, he can definitely do some damage. Cub Swanson trying to get the leg kicks back, but he's having a few issues. There you go, that's blinking now, and again, Crypto also switches stance a lot of time. You never know what particular angle you're going to get from, and so you have difficulty with southpaw or orthodox fighters in general. You're going to have difficulty fighting someone like Crypto.
Yeah, and I can kind of see Crypto. It looks like to me he wants to set up a
that.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I was going to say a Showtime kick, but nevertheless, he wanted a spinning tornado heel to the bleeding throat, Rara.
As Looney has just said in the chat, there is a method to Crypto's madness. And as we saw at the
a
end of that
method
round,
that nobody is certain of, even Crypto himself, it has to be said. The method is possibly in some ancient language forbidden beyond all ears to be heard out loud, I feel like.
For sure. Like cave paintings.
I mean, he's old enough for the cave paintings, that's something to say.
Oh.
Voider's doing a good job here. He just needs to get a little bit more out of the pocket, and I think he needs to work those legs a little bit more now, Rara. You know, he's tried to. Oh, there you go, straight away. That leg is now flashing. That right leg is. He needs to go and start doubling up on them leg kicks, and if all else fails, knock him out, Rara.
If in doubt, knock him out. That's the attitude here in this one. And you got to think, though, that Cripps, if he goes back to that left leg that he was doing before, could be beneficial for him in this one, because you got to think that Voider is looking to just, like, tap at him from afar, and it's not really... no, he's, like, coming in. He's like... I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like,
He's doing a fantastic job here, trying to play too aggressive, though. And we're now back out there. We've got the jab, we've got the straight established, but he's firing nothing behind it, and that's, I think is what you were trying to get at here, Rara, is that he's got a lot of offense, but there's nothing dangerous being thrown behind it. He's got a jab, he's got a straight, but if you're not throwing anything behind it, if you're not throwing anything major, you're just being jabbed in the face, and that only gets you so far.
Oh, definitely. Oh, just misses the head kick there. You got to think that Crypto could look for some sort of Showtime kick here, and it'd be beautiful if he got it. I don't know what it's called. Oh, hits him there again clean. You got to think that, as we said, it was a method to his madness.
I knew it. I knew he was setting it up.
Exactly.
He wants that. He wants that Showtime kick. He does indeed, Rara. And Doc, tell me this now, right? If you're a Voider, you're about to be down 2 rounds, right? Because Crypto's taking this fight and he's running with it right now. You have a Voider who's only thrown 3 punch combinations, and then he's backing out just like that, and he's letting Pettis recover, and he's not pushing the fight as much as he wants to, because when he does eventually, I'll shut up.
The issue when it comes to fighting someone like Crypto, after having like so many fights with the guy, I've had too many to count across UFC 3 and UFC 4, is he will fight in such an unorthodox style that if you're not used to it, you have to. Turns out you don't need it. That is probably the biggest issue when it comes to Cripps' playstyle, and that showcases his entire playstyle in its indefiniteity. He's a fun fighter. He does not care if he wins or loses, but sometimes he will throw the kicks at the wrong time, in the wrong place, and a lead hook will put you to sleep.
Wow. I think we're going to be needing to get some neck replacements on this card. Good God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, Here's the thing, right? If you're a avoider, right, you want to celebrate that, right? Because you just won a fight by KO with Cub Swanson, who obviously is Looney's favorite fighter. But you also just knocked out Looney's co-owner, so you're kind of like, where do I
You're
celebrate?
definitely in
Do
a
I not?
very
You know?
difficult position.
Yeah.
It's like, please be nice.
It's like, look, I won, but I'm sorry about your best friend.
Those two best friends, definitely something to be. It's definitely a point to be made there. However, whilst we wait for that ad break to just turn itself up, we'll get straight into the next fight. Instead of BMF Proxer fighting Martial Rival War, instead, on the PS side, we have Mr. Spooky G, a man known for his grappling ability to keep you on the ground, hug you to death, and make you beg for mercy straight afterwards. This man, honestly, I find a joy to watch, but that's probably due to me being a grappler and not really a striker. So, with that introduction said, I'm not particularly sure on Martial Rival. I believe he's a striker, though. Pretty much, Reaper.
Say Martial Rival War 3 times fast.
I'd rather
It's a
not.
mouthful.
This
It's
is
a mouthful.
you know, and as you guys can see there, Spooky G sticking with the 4-star rating, gonna go with the Benil Dariush, clearly looking to grapple here. And you know, obviously you've got Maz Rival War going with Max Holloway, so it's very clearly Rara a kickboxer versus grappler, as Doc said.
Don't write off Benil Dariush's boxing. I'm not saying he can outbox Max Holloway, but he's got a solid boxing base to be able to get Max Holloway to the floor and look for that submission in this one, Doc.
Or sometimes the best takedown is just a knockdown of some sort. And with Benil Dariush, personally, that level 2 jab is probably one of the more effective jabs you see about on grapplers. It's just got very fluidity, it's very nice, it's very slick, and if you can get established quickly, it leads to other openings to be able to the grappling. It's all about it's a lot of the time, if your striking sets up the grappling sets up the striking. If you can get them both to work in tandem, you are looking for a very clean fight, and that's going to be probably the idea here for Spooky. If he can get a first takedown, he can then open up the striking if it does get back up to the feet, especially when you fight someone like Holloway here, Reaper.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Holloway is absolutely a beast, featherweight or lightweight. It doesn't make the difference. And as Rara was saying, you know, Benil Dariush does have some good boxing, but he's showing off a bit of kickboxing here, you know, which is always nice to see. But these are my favorite matchups, regardless of whether I'm on ranked, I'm on quick fight, I'm in any league. I love a wrestler versus striker because it's two disciplines that have to come to a collision course, right? And it's just like, I'm going to show you that my martial art is better than your martial art, Rara.
So a nice takedown there. Doesn't really capitalise on it very well, though, Benil. And Max Holloway, again, like Nate Diaz, he's a lanky bastard. And he can just stay away from Benil Dariush all day long. And as long as he can defend the takedowns, I've got to say it's potentially in Holloway's favour. And that's controversial to what the people in chat are saying, that apparently he's going to crucify him and stuff like that. But Martial Rival War is holding his own at the moment against Spooky Reaper.
Yeah, he is indeed. And it's the way you play Max Holloway, right? You have to come forward. It's a block breaking type of style. He doesn't have the most power, so you want to get that block down early, Doc. And you want to, if you can, if it makes it into the third round, that block will be shot to death. He'll be shooting for his life, and you'll see those takedowns come more clearly.
Well, that's a lovely spinning back foot. Yes, knockdown does jump into the guard of Spooky, and that's possibly more scary than jumping into the guard of Ortega or someone like Burns. Here you see, though, the Kimura attempt. Now this could be really risky. You have got to remember he's got the knockdown. He's winning so far. Good defense so far. Probably wants to go up, straight up for the posture up, and then look for a get up. You don't want to give Spooky any chance of getting a reversal, of making a comeback. But instead, though, Spooky gets the reversal, and this is where it gets scary. If Holloway's patient, if he's calm, if he's neat, he can give himself the option of staying in this. He's got the knockdown, so most like he's won it. He just needs to know it. Lovely undeniable into that side control there.
Holloway could
Yeah.
just do it, you know. Sorry, Reaper.
Oh, sorry, Rara. Yeah, no, we're definitely in Spooky's world now, right? You guys can see it here. He's got the top mount. He's building his GA really well. He's mixing up his transitions. And at this point, Rara, you know, if you're Max Holloway, you can't panic, right? You just can't. You're going to have to just go with the flow here and take your opportunities as they come. Even if you wanted to, you know, do that. Go back in the full guard.
Definitely, I'd rather stay in full guard than half guard. He gets a turnover, not expecting that at all. And if I'm Max Holloway, I'm going to probably just look to get into half guard and stun the fight back up. But only 10 seconds left in the round, could just be worth battling for GA with Spooky a little bit. And he gets flipped over. Oh no!
That's a very interesting round. That's a very interesting round if you look at it from a both perspective of a striker and grappler. For the grappler, he got a lot of experience on the ground. He may have been able to make some reads. He got a bit of the sub reads as well. However, he didn't win the round, which can go one of two ways normally when you look at it from a grappler perspective. The second round is all about adjustments, and so in this case, will he be able to figure out the best way to take a shot, or will he not be able to take a shot? Because of that's his idea here. He's looking to get Max Holloway on the ground as soon as he can. Holloway, on the other hand, knows he's got a knockdown. He's one round up. That's the most difficult point when you find a grappler is if you can get that one round, you can then build that momentum. And so if he can build this momentum in the second round, if he can win this round, the third round doesn't matter. He just needs to survive.
Yeah, definitely. You got to think though that
and that's exactly what you want if you're Marshall Rival here.
Yeah, Marshall Rival. He's playing his cards right. Someone's taking him down. That's a brave man.
The balls on this card so far, they have been heavy, it seems.
Indeed.
This Marshall Rival Warriors, this Big Balls Ned, because he's giving Big Balls Ned a run for the money there for that name, Rara.
For sure.
We got Big Balls Ned on the card later, just on a side note.
Brilliant to watch at the moment. And he's actually, I'm going to say he's out-rapping him at the moment, but I still think Holloway just needs to stand back up and keep doing what he's doing, because it could potentially get a knockout here, and that would be big for Marshall Rival War's career in primetime MMA, Doc.
I do agree. Marshall Rival was probably better off just taking it back to the feet. He's had the most success there. He's got a knockdown apiece. If he wants to wait it out, then yes. But and there we see him be working on the feet. Now putting on his pressure. Spooky's got to make some type of read against his striking. On the back foot, interestingly, which I wouldn't necessarily use the best game plan against a takedown artist. You want to be putting on the pressure, make them desperate for a shot. Because as soon as they become desperate for a shot, that means that it gets more readable. You can just time it. You can time your defense better, and overall, you seem to take more control within the fight here, Reaper.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, Maz Rival War, he's having great success when he's moving forward. Right, he got that drop. He's winning the positions on the ground, and he just needs Rara, I think, to start pushing the pace, move on to the front foot. Get off the back foot. It's not doing you any favors. As Doc said, you can't back up against a wrestler, otherwise that will happen to you.
That's a lovely use of that major lunge, going straight into the takedown. Does go for the side control fake again, looking to build GA. Now finally gets it. He has got a minute 40 to work, but again he's going against a knockdown, which again leads to Holloway's so far being in favour around. Does get a lovely deny, could go for a gilly or some type. Instead though, goes for the backside here, Ara.
Knows he needs a finish here to stand any chance, or he needs to put Max Holloway in a grave danger on the ground here, which he's just not doing. He just can't land those heavy shots that could sway the fight in his favour, Reaper.
Yeah, you know, Spooky's doing the right things. You know, he's taking it into his world. He's got his takedown, and now he can breathe a little bit, right? He's on top, he's in half guard. He doesn't have to worry about taking any more head health damage, no more body damage, leg damage. He's in his world now, right? So this is kind of giving the confidence, with there only being 30 seconds left, at least he can now say, okay, I can get to this position, I can work my transitions, and I can maybe, if I'm very fortunate, get a finish, Doc.
Well, we've got 8 seconds left on the clock here. You can maybe do a bit of damage, but again, Holloway gets straight back up on your feet. Fantastic job there. As you see, 1 knockdown, 2 significant strikes in the favour of Spooky. This is tough. This is no way. So far, Spooky's got to dig deep. He's got to find the right option, the right adjustment to make here, because of otherwise, I feel like Marshall Rivals was won this. A lovely front kick there does land, overhand there. A flying knee follows in retaliation. A slip hook, a spinning back fist, an elbow, a lovely bit of head movement, and both of these opponents seem to have heard what we've been saying, but they've been both now putting up to pace, knowing it's the final round, hoping for that final kill shot here, Rara.
Spooky needs to kill it. Ooh. He gets knocked down again, and unless the judges have been smoking some major crack, then you've got to think that this fight is heading in the way of Martial Rival War, Reaper.
Yeah, I have Marshall 3 rounds up right now.
Oh.
Spooky's going to need the finish.
Oh,
Well, Spooky may need a finish, but instead Holloway gets the finish. The duck puts him straight out with the uppercut. That was fantastic timing, fantastic reads out overall by Marshall. It seemed like he wasn't particularly confident going into this fight, but then as soon as he got our first knockdown, Spooky had no real options but to strike, and then you saw the lights go out there.
and that being said, brilliant fight there. And again, another new neck gonna be needed to be sent to the loser of that one, Doc.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to be losing their necks, but we may see another neck be lost in the fight coming up next. We'd have Optics versus Ginger. I believe this will be a slight change to the card where it was Adama. Instead, sadly, he got stuck up a tree, and so instead, Ginger is filling in for him, the Irish young lad, part of the TMF camp, looking to make a return fight against FSK Optics, a man who has got some very pressure intense boxing. We're going to see a Cody Garbrandt versus a John Dodson, it seems like here, Reaper.
Yeah, you know, this is a I wanted to say this is a good matchup. I don't know what Ginger's doing. He's very, very ballsy going up against the pick of Cody Garbrandt here, but as you said, Doc, you know, fighters getting stuck in that tree. That tree is a nightmare, Doc. That fighter is taking more. That tree is taking more fighters out of commission than the actual fighter taking each other out of commission.
Yeah, no, it's a very tall tree as well, so it's even more impressive when they climb up it and then get stuck. So the fire brigade has to do it whilst they're rescuing poor cats, which also get stuck up it. Anyhow, Rara. We got John Dodson versus Cody Garbrandt. We got a Mr. No Chin versus a person who has some killer power in his hands.
Well, definitely he does. But you got to think with this one that Cody Garbrandt doesn't have the best chin in the world. And any fight I've ever seen Cody Garbrandt fighting in real life, he's been folded like a deck chair. I've never actually seen him win a fight in real life, but
I think I actually agree with you. I don't think I've ever seen him win a fight.
A lot of fighters do hit like trucks at this division.
Well, Cody Garbrandt already shooting down a takedown, understanding that Ginger's basically wrestling ability is kind of a bit sketchy, whilst on the other hand, his general overall striking can be very effective. Lovely couple of elbows getting fired there, gets denied there. Ginger's going to need to stay patient. He wants to stand any chance here. Optic really showcasing his differential. I called him pressure fight, but evidently he wants to show up his grappling here, Reaper.
Yeah, definitely, Doc. Come here, listen. As you said, it, Cody Garbrandt does not have a chin, right? It's virtually non-existent. I feel like if you could kiss Cody Garbrandt on the chin, you'd put him to sleep. You know, I'd say Cody Garbrandt's wife, when he's having trouble sleeping, he says, honey, can you come here, gives a kiss on the chin. She says, I'll be right in now, honey. She plants one on him and he falls right to sleep. It's like the Luke Rockhold effect here. But, yeah, you know, and Optics is doing the right thing as far as I'm concerned. You know, we've got a 3-round fight and you've got no chin on your fighter. Take the fight to the ground, you know. Keep your chin for the later rounds, Rara.
Definitely, you got to agree there, for sure. And the chin of Garbrandt, it lacks so much that if Dodson could potentially get in to a top mount and start raining down some shots, it's gonna be fatal for Garbrandt. You've got to think, though.
Well, very limited in terms of fakes on both sides. It is, I mean, neither of them can really transition. They're looking for the GA, but again, the fakes just aren't there. They aren't opening up any options. If you're Dodson, you want to be faking that top man. If you're Garbrandt, you want to be faking that transition there, but you have got to be wary. A lovely side control attempt, doesn't get it, goes back into this ball guard now, and again, fake that feet on hips, fake any shots you can, because the more you confuse your opponent, the more they're unsure which fakes are which. It's going to be a fun time, and now we see him getting into this cage position again. Easy way to get out of. He just needs to make sure he doesn't take too much damage. As I say that though, lovely few shots land there by Ginger here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Reaper.
Yeah, sorry, Rara. I know you're spot on there, Doc, as well. You know, and I was just watching that there in that grappling exchange and how Ginger got the better of it. Could you imagine being Optics here and thinking, okay, I'm going to wrestle for 3 rounds so I don't lose my chin, and then Ginger just out grapples it, and it's like, shit, now I have to strike.
Well, and neglecting the glass chin is the good part about Cody Garbrandt overall. Is he does have the grappling ability, but he also has the striking ability. So you try the grappling first, that doesn't work, then you go to play Rock'em Sock'em robots on the feet. And by the looks of it, Jodson won that first round fairly competitive overall in the control time, 52 seconds to 1 minute 11. For saying Cody got the takedown to begin with, that's very competitive.
Oh, for sure, it is. And with this one, you got to think that like Dodson, he's gonna just want to try and hit Garbrandt with some power, because 2, 3, maybe 4 shots, and it will be the end of the night for Garbrandt with the lack of that chin. And I keep coming back to it. Maybe some leg kicks in there as well, because I'm pretty certain that Cody Garbrandt's leg kicks aren't the best. Leg defense even isn't the best, Reaper.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. They actually aren't the best. I think they range somewhere in the 80s, so they're not actually that high. But, you know, Ginger's doing a great job here of just getting in and out of the pocket, working the body well. And it's very smart from Ginger, because now he's making Cody Garbrandt worry about the body, right? Which, as we know, it's going to bring the hands down, Doc.
Yeah, bring down hand, making sure you can make your opponent worried of that body. It would be the chorus shot or a takedown, but by the looks of it, Ginger finally got a read on the defense, down the into the body, looking for a couple shots, uppercuts trying to land, dragging him across that entire cage, and Optics looking to get payback again. Oh, lovely deny, jab straight, pull back, uppercut, nearly got the clip there, but Jodson's chin managing to cope with the power of Garbrandt. And now with 3 minutes on the clock, both of them are still going at it, both of them kind of tentative, but also ready to put the aggression on at a moment's notice here, Rara.
Yeah, definitely. He's looking to pile the pressure on, for sure. Oh, nice hook there from Garbrandt, and nearly ends the career of John Dodson, let alone this fight. Oh, again. Not looking good at the moment. You've got to think Garbrandt, he's hitting some nice shots. And it's really keen to see.
Very, very nicely done by Optics here. Dodson goes for a takedown on his own, doesn't get it, pinned against the wall. He's back taken here as well. He's got the knee, he's got the hooks, he's got the bot drag, and we see him getting taken straight down here.
Optics needed that, right? Let's be real here. Let's be honest. Optics needed that rock, and now he's got more confidence to go ahead and grapple now, because now, you know, Ginger's going to be a bit more worried about the head held, right, after getting that rock. So his hands are going to come up naturally. So if Optics can time a turn and takedown Rara, it's going to look good for him moving into the third round.
It's definitely going to look good for him. This is the backside, probably the smartest decision there if you are John Dodson. But at the moment, I've got to think it's Garbrandt's fight to the taking, with obviously this couple of stuns and I think knockdown that happened in this fight so far. And Garbrandt, again, he's just looking to pass guard into the half guard, and it's not really working very well at the moment, Doc.
Yeah, it's not particularly working very well. He seems more content just to sit in this guard. It's a very slow pace. A lot different to how we've seen the rest of this fight going. Both of them seem to be kind of necessary, but I think they're just kind of weighing it out before this next round puts them back on the feet again.
Yeah, it's a real stalemate on the ground, right? And as you guys can see there, Optics stands back up. He realises he doesn't have a lot of time left, and he wants to take that chance to even steal the fight a little bit more. But it's a bit of a stalemate on the ground now, right? Because now the fighters are going into the third round. They've got a bit more pressure on them. They've both been rocked, and now it's kind of getting to the stage where it's kind of like, okay, I have to be aggressive. I have to win this third round, because I could possibly think it could be one round apiece here, though.
Yeah, I would definitely agree there. 1 round apiece, and so this final round is where the crucial round. I would definitely say Optics is the one putting the pace on, and so he's currently leading it. But Ginger's still got the ability to come back. The chin health is still fairly similar. It's not compromised entirely. He just needs to choose his exchanges better, making sure he establishes a jab, build up behind it, and making sure that he isn't getting clipped at the same time. Even moving down to that grappling a bit more, focusing on that, looking to do the damage there. Maybe the idea, if you can just outlast your opponent, out attrition them for all their shots here, and just come back and get one key shot and knock down even, that would probably win you the round here, Rara.
Yeah, definitely. It's looking like Garbrandt's fight for taking though again. Oh, nice that he knees to the face of Dodson in the clinch there. And it's a really, really fun fight to watch. A little bit boring in the grappling, not as much action, but on the feet, you've got to think that the action is very good. And I know before anyone panics and thinks I'm only one of these people who watches Stand and Bang, I love grappling. But it's just a bit boring grappling in this one when it is grappling, dog.
Yeah, well, here we see though Optics going for the striking approach, getting the stun. Lovely job there. Gingy's trying to get back towards him, and knee there to the body also works. Dig down, upcut. Both of them are just going at it still. A duck on the head kick doesn't. It's just a bit too short for the duck to Mala. Couple knees exchanged in that clinch work. But again, it seems like Optics' defense is just tight enough where it means that that Ginger just can't get anything going here, Reaper.
Yeah, you know, he's been rocked here now, Ginger has, and he realises he's down on the scorecards, and he needs a finish, within the next 2 minutes, and he's just walking into Cody Garbrandt's power. Cody's backing up a little tad bit, and then he stands and plants. And Rara, you know, if you're John Dodson now, what's the game plan? It has to be a finish, right? It has to be.
Has to be. You've got to throw the kitchen sink at him, to be honest. Again, John Dodson, but with throwing the kitchen sink, you're risking getting knocked out, which isn't going to be very good for your ranking points inside prime time. Obviously, we've got the ranking system, which is brilliant, to be honest. I love it. Probably stolen from somewhere, somehow, I don't know. I'm not one of the ins and outs of it. But still, though, Dodson, if he can plant his feet and he can just manage to get 3-4 shots off, could potentially be the end of the night for Garbrandt, despite him dominating most of the fight, Reaper.
Yeah, and you know what, John Dodson, right? Ginger had a great round one. He looked like the more completed fighter, if you want to say that. He just looked like he was having his way with Cody. He was out striking him. He was out grappling him. And then all of a sudden, Optics decided, you know what, I'm not going to have that, and I want this fight, Doc, so I'm going to take this fight, and he's not going to stop me from it.
Well, it may have been the case that the nerves kicked in for Ginger, but the nerves calmed for Optics. It could be possibly even when you become a veteran of the game. Sometimes that's the case. But with that, we call an end to this fight. We'll wait for the judge's decision. Hopefully, it isn't as skewed as or confusing or just as wacky as typical MMA decisions. But in this game, who the hell knows is the answer to that question.
Sure, gotta think it's Garbrandt's fight 3-0. I haven't seen Dodson really do anything
The
to
first
anything
round.
otherwise. I've got to think. I'm just gonna say.
I think it was 1-1 apiece going into the second. The third one definitely going in favour of Cody. There we are.
Thank God Rara's not an in real life judge. Thank God for that. Rara, if you were an in real life judge and scored this at 30-27 for Cody, people would destroy you on Twitter, man. I swear to
Do
God.
we get to see the scorecards overall?
I'm going to say split decision.
I think they said
say 29-28.
unanimous decision. I didn't get the chance.
Unanimous?
Yeah, I think they said unanimous decision. I'm going to assume a 29-28,
right.
unless we get to see the scorecards here, maybe. Are we?
Check the statistics.
Show us the scorecards. Go on, be nice to us.
Come on,
If you
Ginge.
don't show us the scorecards, we riot. Ginge, please.
Okie dokie. Well,
He's making us wait for that one, wasn't it?
evidently. Well, if we get to see them, if we get word from the back, we will tell you the scorecards. I think pretty sure they were announced on the stream. We just didn't hear it, sadly. But, with that fight done and dusted and out of the way, I believe we're on to our next fight of this evening here, Reaper.
We are indeed, and it looks like we're having someone from the Mob camp fighting. And as you guys know, Mob is it's a very good camp. It is a very strong, solid camp, and they got some great kickboxers there, Rara.
Definitely, but has there been a replacement, Doc, with this one or not?
AGS Hybris versus Fatal. I believe Hybris is a late replacement for Flecky after he got stuck chasing after a cat and then ended up in a ditch somewhere. He's still in the shower getting all the muck cleaned off. Anyhow, we are in the lightweight division, the light heavyweight division. A wild division to say the least, but still a very much a viable division.
Definitely, and I think the previous fight has been scrapped, has it, Doc?
That is entirely possible within the combines of this. Yes, it was. Apologies.
What? Not sure.
Yeah, the previous fight was scrapped. We're now on to this fight. It was
Flecky is being replaced by AJS Hybris, a good-looking contender, part of the AJS camp, a very well-known camp within the community, split off from TFA or something similar to that. I could be wrong. Someone more informed would be able to tell you. Anyhow, Fatal was, I believe, part of KMA, at least to some extent, so both of these fighters are fairly well diverse in the overall community-wise, so they're both experienced. They're not veterans of leagues, I would say, but they're definitely veterans of just being with the right people here, Reaper.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they're just now making their way into primetime MMA, and you know, you have that. You got those nerves, right? And you're using fighters in the light heavyweight division, and these two fighters, Dominic Reyes and Alexander Gustafsson, pack punches. So it's going to be fun to see how the nerves are handled here, Rara, as Gustafsson shoots for a takedown.
Probably a smart move from Gustafsson because he's got a decent grappling base. I'm not saying he's like John Jones level, but he's got a very solid grappling base to use, and he could hit the strikes that are needed to win this one on the ground, Doc, obviously because he's got very good boxing.
Well, he's playing a very aggressive ground and pound game, and that's a interesting time, especially when you're in full guard. Like, if you're going to play ground and pound, half guard, full guard are the kind of the places you want to be playing. You don't want to be messing about in full guard, just very little damage, and you also get your reversal into top mount if you're really unlucky. The stamina of Hybris does seem to be going down with every shot. The very, very aggressive ground and pound. Non-stop is got to be where he started if he wants to keep that pace up, I feel like.
I'm going to call it out. I'm going to have to. Whoever's made the fight bet prediction for this, sort your life out. 9 minutes to make your bet. 2 minutes left. It's going to we're going to be in the second round by the time the fight prediction is finished.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to get your bets on. Now's the time, especially with how dominant Fatal seems to be in. That would be the guy I would be betting on right now. As you see, though, again, we're in this half guard. We're in the top mount. We've seen the first deny of the night and a transition into boxing. That sudden change of pace here, Reaper.
It is, and now they're back on the feet, and Dominic Reyes clearly wants no part of the ground game, right? So if you're AJ's, you have to keep it on the feet, right? You can't afford to be on the ground here, Rara, because now you've just given away your entire game plan, which is, I don't feel comfortable down here. I need to be on the feet.
Definitely. And if you're Gustafsson, you're going to want to probably look for another takedown. He's going to have to set it up because I don't think Dominic Reyes is a slouch with defending takedowns in this game at all. Doc.
Well, he gets another takedown there. Takedown defense just stays on point, digging to that body. Probably going to look for the play the stam game in some cases, but so far Reyes fairly comfortable there. An uppercut lands, looking for the pullback, a jab straight follows suit, and again, back and forth battle here. Just both of them looking for any key shots they can do.
Yeah, and you know, Dominic Reyes is now pushing the action, and he's trying to get back into the center, stay on the front foot. And little fact here, I actually main Dominic Reyes at light heavyweight, Rara.
Dominic Reyes is a good little pick. He's underrated in my eyes in this game, to be honest. Really, really solid pick. He's got the reach, but then again, all heavyweights have got a solid reach. To be honest, they're all built like bloody giant poles or something. I don't know what I'm trying
just
to say.
Not DC.
End of the round.
Just not DC. Right?
Daniel Cormier.
7 to 28 significant strikes. That ground and pound definitely played a key role in how that fight entirely got stats wise, because you saw a lot of that ground and pound very early on. You saw a lot of that ground and pound heavy and consistent. Maybe Fatal was going to look for another takedown. Doesn't get a touch of gloves there, and already you see Reyes holding down low block, getting another takedown defense, and then looking to put well, again, lovely defense there, keeping him on the feet. So far, he's only been able to get one takedown, and AJS Hybris has managed to stay fairly calm elsewhere. This is Airstream, by the way, not ours.
I should hope not, as there is a couple of pixels flaking, and I apologise there, Reaper. Oh, nice ground and pound, though.
No, you're fine, Rara. No, but I always love hearing your voice, Rara. You know, you come with the top tips of the esports community, so it's always nice when I get to hear your voice and when you get to chime in. But, you know, Doc Rara, I have to say this. I don't want to be, you know, counting anybody out here, but this is looking like an Alexander Gustafsson fight. Fatal's just doing the right things, keeping him down, and you know, especially when AJ's hybris doesn't want to be down here, it's going to take away his confidence, especially going this late into the fight.
It looks a lot closer than it is. I also feel like because you have this very subtle play, like because we saw this is how the first round played out, 28-7 single winner strikes. That's quite a lot for saying you had 2 minutes of striking on the feet and you managed to get 28 significant strikes just on the ground and pound. That indicates that Fatal's game here isn't to do major damage, it's just to land shot after shot after shot he can on the grappling to hope that when we do end up back on the feet like so, he's got enough in the scorecards, he's got enough that even if he does get clipped quite heavily, which is in some cases what Hybris is doing here, he's managing to get the uppercut, managing to get the straight established very nicely, he's just picking him apart as he does so.
But I think though that the debuff that Dominic Reyes had after the Yuri fight is not going to help his case in this one. As gets caught there, could have been in the second knockout because of a slip straight this evening. And nice knee there from Reyes. And it seems he's trying to come back a bit, push the pace a little, and he's finally defended some of those takedowns, Reaper.
Yeah, you know, he's starting to stay in the feet a little bit better now, and now he's pushing the pace, right? His stamina is being definitely depleted from defending all these takedowns. So that could be a game plan too of Fatal. But you know, if you're Dominic Reyes and you know what the game plan is here now, throw your knees, throw your uppercuts. You know, it can only help to have him dip down into one, especially with the way these boys hit, Doc. It's gonna be a flash.
Gonna be a flash. I would agree, especially at the rate Gustafsson's landing now. He's always landing there. He's always just there. Nearly ducks into the uppercut. That was a big of a close goal. Does ditch on the takedown, goes back towards the center cage. Reyes now also suffering on the feet. It seems like he's unsure across the board. We saw the grappling exchanges. He's had some excessive takedown defense. It seems to be the only thing that is consistent across the board is fairly high, but even then that's suffering on occasion here.
Reyes flowing the punches here. Lucky not to have hit the slip counter on Gustafsson at the end of that round. But Gustafsson, he can't use leg kicks because Gustafsson has not got good kicks at all. They're slower than Thomas the Tank Engine if there was leaves on the track or something.
That is possibly the weirdest description I've heard, but also quite descriptive to the point where it does give you a general idea, maybe to the point where they're not even moving. But with that weird description out of the way, we see we're back to this normal case. You've got Reyes also lower on the stamp, and for saying the pace that Gustafsson is throwing, 28 significance in the first, probably a similar amount in the second, he's still continuing with that pace, Reaper. You got to imagine that there's no sign of stopping, especially with 4.5 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, and he's doing a fantastic job. Is Fatal here? You know, he's fighting like Khabib, right? He punch his way into range and he'll go for a takedown, whether he gets it or not. He'll back up and then shoot back in again, and he's always putting you on the back foot. As I say that, he goes to his back foot, but he just has that long jab, and then he just moves his head a little bit and then shoots in for a takedown. And I think if Reyes gets out behind that black line, he's going to shoot again.
Definitely, I can see that. But Reyes, he's actually ahead in the head health battle. All control of DC. Are we going to see some respect, or are we going to see an Aaron moment? No, bit of respect. Love to see it, to be honest. Sportsmanship, great sportsmanship there between the two of them. You got to think that the head health is quite even, but if Reyes can get a combo off without flaking all of his stamina, then like I said, I was looking for that shot because it's head health.
That knee was exactly what you wanted. Looks at the K. Again, though, it just seems like that stamina, as you mentioned there, Rara, it's just keeping him just out of the fight. He got the stun, but again, he couldn't fire anything from it because he had no stamina there, Reaper.
Yeah, he had nothing, and he's unloading now, right? Because he's down 2 rounds, so he has to unload. But the one thing I am noticing from Hybris that he's doing a lot better, he's finally mixing in his uppercuts. He's mixing his lead uppercut, and it's kind of putting Fatal off of shooting a little bit, Rara.
Definitely. But Fatal,
as I say that,
if he just commentator's curse coming into effect there, and you got to think though that It's looking like that if Gustafsson can just sit back for the last minute and a half of this fight and just play his cards right, he's going to win this fight at least 29-28. Arguably, I'm not going to say 30-27 because obviously the stun probably benefiting. As he gets a takedown, lovely takedown, and that's got a posh name that I'll ask from you, Doc.
Lovely job there, Hybris. Just trying to stay tight on defense. But again, Gustafsson is having a very effective time overall with his grappling. Calm, patient, looking for the takedowns when he can get them, and then going for that ground and pound Reaper. It's all just melded fantastically to bring to this position now.
It really has. You know, Fatal's fought a very, very smart fight, especially at light heavyweight, right? Because you know, you get clipped once. One mistake, you're rocked. One mistake, you're flashed. And one mistake, it's another loss on your record and you're down points here in prime time. So Fatal is clearly definitely looking to just coast out his win. He's had a very, very good performance, but that's taken nothing away from AJ's Hybris. You know, he had his moments. He got his rocks too, and he did perform. Unfortunately, now he might have gotten outperformed tonight, but he definitely looks like he could be an issue going forward with some guys here in prime time, Doc.
Yeah, he definitely could be some issues. Hopefully, we can get the results down here.
I mean, it is horrible.
I'm going to go
back
with
to the center of
Gustafsson.
the octagon, not knowing exactly who won the fight. I thought
I think-
he
I
won
think-
a lot of the
Taking it.
striking
Think-
exchanges.
Yeah, you're right, Rara. I'm gonna go Gus 30-27 unanimous decision. I'll be shocked now if it's Reyes, but it's hard to deny someone 3 rounds of very, very dominant grappling.
Yeah, but
Split decision.
Oh my God, are you joking? Are you actually joking?
Decision.
Oh my God.
We need to have a look at these stats, Fatal.
I want a split decision.
I would be throwing my controller. I would be throwing my
I
PS5.
mean, the best part is Hybris has already quit.
Because I was like, oh my God.
He's won the
my-
fight and he's already got out of there. Will we get to see stat? Was that 30-27 in the favour of Reyes?
Couldn't have been.
That,
There's no way.
that looked at it.
Show us the scorecard.
Show us the- I'm genuinely interested in these
the fucking
scorecards.
scorecards.
Well-
We don't need the statistics.
well, again-
Just the scorecards.
Again, that's definitely in the favour. But 30-27.
Oh my God.
Okay, so this is
think the judges have
okay.
just
So
spoken crap
this is
game.
evidently the case of damage overshot. Just on the side note, and typically the judges score their cards by damages, and so I think that is definitely the case there. You may have got 29, you may have scored 28 significant strikes, but that doesn't mean shit if they didn't do much damage. And within full guard, within that section, that's probably the issue.
I don't even know.
30-27 both ways. Like, what's unheard of?
27 both ways, and then you had a 29-28 in the favour. That is wild, to say the least.
I think the judges were Sal D'Amato, Stevie Wonder, and somebody else, because I did not. I had a 30-27 unanimous decision. Gustafsson, yeah. That was insane. I'm shocked. I'm genuinely shocked.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. None of us scored that correctly according to the judges, and that is a wild fight. If you're Fatal, you are not going to be happy.
But I think though that the judges may have got it right because of the stun. It changed everything in that one. For Ray, that one stun that Ray has got changed the entire perplexion of the fight and how the judges viewed it. To be honest,
One punch cannot
case of
win
one
you
stun.
a fight. Rara, I will not have it. One punch does not win you a 15-minute fight.
I mean, one punch can win you a fight.
If you knock him out, fair
Yeah.
enough. But when you're stuck on your back for the other 12 minutes of the fight,
Yeah, no, this is
Talking
very
in terms of
true.
UFC 4 judges.
Well, okay,
You know,
well,
the logic they have,
anyhow, because we can have a discussion about that fight all night long, but we have still got the rest of the prelims to go, as well as a fight card, as well as the main card, as well as the main event on this evening, and I don't particularly be fancy here, stuck here for the next 4 hours. So, With that being said, we'll get on to our next fight of this evening, a Suma versus Sui Fighter. I may be fucking up that pronunciation. Who knows? If someone in the back could tell us, I'd be grateful. However, they are in the welterweight division, and by the looks of it, we get to see a Bruce Lee versus Ben Askren.
Wow. Was not expecting that. Simply, wow.
This is a gentleman's agreement. Yeah, this is a gentleman's agreement, 100%. There's no way they did not talk about this, Doc.
I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I do know Bruce Lee has two very interesting characteristics. One, he has some unique combinations, which I believe only Dirty Dave knows sometimes. As again, we all know Dirty Dave. Guy spends more time in the practice room, and so some of Bruce Lee's combinations are just wild. Second off, he's also got Crucifix and a Kimura. Just interesting to note. So if you do end on the ground, he's got a good submission trap and he can Crucifix you. Ben Askren, you've got two choices. Either you come out here striking like a madman, or you come out looking to grapple.
Ben Askren has already survived longer than he did against Jorge Masvidal in this one.
It's a new personal best, it is, Rara, you know. And look, let's be honest here, lads, right? We know Bruce Lee is maybe the master of kung fu, and he's a legend in the martial arts world, right? But if you're Ben Askren, just take this fight to the ground.
Simple. You can't go hoya 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 on the ground now, can it?
I mean, you could definitely try to, but you don't dismiss the striking of Ben Askren. Maya's got very effective striking, in my personal opinion. Again, I am a K1 Maya, but that's a different story entirely. You can definitely imagine how well a Ben Askren strike can be if played correctly. So, by the looks of it, we're going to be playing on the feet, and both of them are already getting that jab established, playing a very aggressive game in both sides here, Ara.
You've got to think that, oh, bloody hell, the health of Bruce Lee's gone right down there. And I think that cross of Ben Askren hits like a tank, and they've both thrown a kick, and it's both missed. Oh, spinning back. When the fuck did Ben Askren have spinning back fist?
He did it in the Maya fight.
He did.
Of course you'd know that, Doc.
Hi, you dare diss Damian Maya.
I'm not dissing him.
You better not be. Although Bruce Lee shooting a takedown doesn't seem to get it, and these two are playing a very dangerous games.
I think they're playing the opposite of how they're meant to. Like Bruce Lee's trying to take Ben Askren down, and Ben Askren's trying to box with Bruce Lee.
This has to be a gentleman's agreement to switch game plans. It has to be. I will not stand for any other that they did not talk before this, where they decided, okay, if you go Ben Askren and strike, I will go Bruce Lee and wrestle, Doc.
I mean, I don't know, because the thing is, I've heard of weirder agreements, like wanting to play with their controllers upside down or turn off the monitors, and so I've heard of weirder agreements with CM Punk mirror matches as well. However, it doesn't seem like Bruce Lee's wanting to grapple. It seems like he's wanting to strike, and so instead, Ben Askren's looking to also strike, weirdly enough, and not shooting a take. It's a very strange matchup, coming off the back of a very strange decision here, Ara. We seem to have lost Rara for 2 seconds. Ben Askren does get a stun, putting on the pressure here, Reaper, and I'm a bit concerned already for Bruce Lee. It seems like he's going a bit mental now.
He is, you know, it's a weird one. Like, I can't believe we're even watching this fight, but it's just so strange. Oh,
that's a way to make a comeback, and that's a way to knock him out. Okay.
It's a good job Ben Askren didn't land that spinning back fist, as according to Dino Gamer, the world would have exploded had that spinning back fist landed.
Well, Flame Strike comes out here, puts on a showcase with K1 Maya, and knocks Bruce Lee out with an overhand, as you can see. That's a wild and a half fight.
That was great.
Joke time MMA.
That was fantastic. I actually really enjoyed that. That was actually really competitive for a few minutes until the overhand landed and knocked Bruce Lee into the nether world.
Yeah, knocking Bruce Lee into the Netherworld is definitely something that's unexpected to do with Maya, with, what's his name? Askren.
Ben
But,
Askren.
hey, it works.
That being said, the man, the myth, the legend, Bulk Up Bully, is taking on Purple Urkel at featherweight. We could be potentially seeing a Conor McGregor or something here, though.
Well, Purple Urkel did sadly have to pull out, and so instead, I believe we have the replacement of Sam Nye, also known by a really long name of TVV105 or something similar to that. But
Is Sam Nye the science guy
possibly.
instead of Bill Nye?
However, hopefully these two are already lobbied up. No final weight cutting required. Fingers crossed.
We don't need another fighter stuck up a tree in this scenario. It would appear that Purple Urkel has gotten lost and ended up in that tree as well tonight, Rara.
The elements really, the environment's fighting back, trying to take back their land. There's 2 people in a tree, and one person went to go get those 2 people from a tree, who fell down climbing the tree into a ditch.
Whilst chasing the cat. Don't forget the cat. Anyhow, with that random side little segue off the ball, this is our featured fight of the prelims. This is the last fight where we'll see a 4-star pick on the table. Past this fight, we get straight back into any fighters. They do get the fighter ban though, so it does end up with sometimes a very interesting style. However, let's have a look. We've got Danny Gay in the blue corner being played by TVV One Up Only, also known as Sam Nye. In the other hand, we get to see Bulk Up Bully and his Rock Lee calf make a return.
The best haircut in all of UFC for competitive esports, hands down. I don't care what anyone says. He's got the best haircut in the world.
I was just thinking, right? If he blow dries it and straightens it, I hear, before fights, Rara. It's actually his ritual before walking to the cage. So, but you know, I'm thinking here, lads, right? If you're fighting Bulk Up Bully in prime time, right, and you have a fighter to ban, and you really want to piss him off before the fight starts, wouldn't you not just ban the calf, Doc?
Yeah, this is, I believe, we have had a case of this before with Moroccan Lion, actually. He did end up put out due to different reasons, but at the time, his opponent literally banned his calf, and he was very confused on what to do. And so, if you know your opponent's going to go someone like a calf, maybe ban it. Like, it's viable if you are the higher-rated fighter. I believe in this case, though, Bulk Up Bully was the higher-rated fighter, and Sam Nye is trying his damnedest to make a comeback of any type. But here you see, though, it's just kick after kick after kick.
Oh,
Jesus!
Y'all want to see a dead body.
I mean, this is what you come to see Primetime for. The Primetime guarantee shows up. It is not normally as one-sided as this, but Bulk Up Bully taunting the favour, and they're back at it again. These two are just...
Bulk Up Bully. I've put 10k on him winning. 10k points on him winning.
You're commentating. You shouldn't be biased, but evidently.
blew Dan Ige a kiss. Would you stop?
That makes more sense to be Dan Ige. I think I called him Rob Font earlier. My brain's definitely forgotten.
No, you can make that comparison because he does look like
He does look like Rob Font,
In fairness,
yeah.
he does. It's like his little twin brother.
Twin brother in featherweight, which is questionable idea, but body kick there does land. 2 minutes 30 left on the clock. A spinning death kick follows a spinning heel kick in retaliation. Kick, an uppercut, a lead hook, dodges the straight again, looks to the body, doesn't get it. Uppercut does also miss. Now jab straight follows back. Both of these fighters are just so aggressive, hoping to get any shots. Sam Nye is definitely on the back foot. He just is having a hell to pay with all the shots, especially when you saw earlier with the combos he was landing here, Rara.
Definitely. And if Bulk Up Bully gets a win here, then I want to see Bulk Up Bully be Moroccan Lion. I want someone to find that man and get him in prime time. That'd just be such a shithousery fight, honestly. Just sum it up.
I'm not sure how a calf mirror match would work, though.
Would it be a mirror match?
I don't know. I assume not.
Oh.
But I don't know.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely a bridge you cross to it. Anyhow, getting sidetracked by the slightly weird interpretation of the rules. We had Bullcut Bully trying to shoot a takedown after already kicking the living shit out of Rob Font's younger brother here. Like, I feel sorry for Sam Knight. He's doing good in some cases. He's got the boxing, he's got the kicks, he's trying his hardest, but it definitely does seem like Bullcut Bully is having a whale of a time just getting his kicks off here.
Oh my God. Doc, mate, if I don't know if you ever had a prime time moment, but that's your prime time moment. That is there. That's the one that's going to get down in history.
More stunned.
And do you know what? Do you know what as well, right? I will say this. Bullcut Bully had a very, very tough fight last week against Karts, right? It was a very, very close fight, but Karts pulled it out with the McGregor pick against Bullcut Bully. And he's come out this week and he said, you know what? I pity the poor man who gets locked inside that cage with me because I am going to ruin your lineage, Rara.
Well, he's called a bowl cut bully, Rara. Sorry to cut you off there, Rara, but he's called a bowl cut bully for a reason, Rara, there, and it seems to be holding true to his name.
Reminds me, I say you're Bullcut Bully. I get the impression of the main character from the video game Bully, but with a bowl cut instead of the shaved hair, if anyone's ever played that. Brilliant game.
Well, his leg kick gets checked. That's probably the most effective shot of Sam Knight's entire life so far. Hopefully that brings him a bit more confidence as he does. Building up this pressure, catches the leg kick, couple of jabs lead. Knees though, we've already seen the knees wonderful when fighting Notorious. If they start coming out again, we may give Jay Dime PTSD if he's watching. And now it seems like we've got the head kicks again. We've seen the similar position. They have been already trying to come out here, Reaper, but so far it looks like this round is going to be a bit more evenly contested, even with the questionable head movement.
Yeah, you know, Sam had a good moment there. He actually checked the leg kick and Bullcut Bully's leg was injured from it. So if he can maybe start, you know, working the head as he taunts there, giving it the old flex. But, you know, if I blew a kiss, Jesus Christ, only in prime time. But no, yeah, look, if Sam can work the legs now, right, he's going to have some success. And if he can jab to the head and then get in a leg kick there at the end of his combinations, he might have some success here, Rara.
Definitely, and he taunts him, Matt's ballsy. Bullcut Bully is going to come and kill him now for that. Oh dear. Oh. The kicks though from Bullcut Bully, I don't know anyone that can stop him. Like, they must hit like a truck. It's like Miko Krokop. Left kick, left leg hospital.
Right kick cemetery. A front kick though lands, does the most damage we've seen to date. Rob Font's younger brother is just trying his damnedest here to stay alive, but it seems like a death kick only just about manages, but even that's having issues here. And Bullcut Bully is keeping his head off that centre line with that bit of head movement. He's Kitcho getting caught in occasion, but nothing's really getting through to really do any proper damage here.
Definitely. He's looking to. They're both just looking to land that one glorious shot to end the fight. You got to think that Bullcut Bully, despite not being able to see HUD, make sure to take your fucking HUDs on in future. It really annoys me. Anyway, make sure he's just looking.
You heard it here first. Rara gets annoyed by no HUDs.
You got to think that head health, despite not being able to see it, is going to be worse in the favour of Mr.
No.
than
I mean the clinch game though, Rara. Sorry to cut you off there. Jesus, the body health as well drops him there. Looking to get the finish, only justified as the cameraman steps off his stool in pure fear. A bloody finish. Bullcut Bully being a bully, finally pushing to rest and giving him a kick just at the end. There's a reason Bullcut Bully was in the featured prelim, and that is why.
Muma 10k channel points Bullcut Bully. Thank you.
Condolences to Rob Font's younger brother, but congratulations to Bullcut Bully there. He played a fantastic game. He showed off his clinch work. He showed off his knee game. He showed off his general striking. Rob Font's younger brother just had no real answer to it all there, Reaper.
Yeah, you're dead right, Doc. He showed off his punching game, he showed off his kicking game, his kickboxing game, his clinch game, and apparently he showed off his game to flirt, because that has got to be the most kisses I've ever seen a man blow another man in a fight.
Yes, no, I would completely agree. That's definitely the most amount of kisses I've ever seen in my life.
Diaz, maybe. Anyway, after that, Nate Diaz broke this, didn't it? I don't know. The analogy's a bit off the rails here.
Yes, it really is. It's really is off the rails. We'll leave you to it there. But with that being said, we do have a slight change to the current fight graphic on the card. We now have up next, starting off on the main event of the main card of this evening. Now we got all-star picks, so you can see 4.5, such as Gilbert Burns and Leon Edwards by the looks of it. But instead of Storminator versus Kev B, we get Golden Kid versus Kev P.
Okay, so Storminator has been stuck up that tree. You know what, lads? I was just thinking, right? We all thought it was going to be aliens invading us. It's not the aliens, it's the trees we can't trust, apparently, here, Rara.
I think Rara might have left us there. But I will be joining you from now on out. And,
Rara has evolved into Mr. Humbledink.
Rara, I just seen him jump out the window and land in a tree. I don't know what's going on. He's just
Rara just became a Geordie.
Oh god, everybody's
You're just joining us, guys. We're going to have some great fights. And imagine just joining us right now as talk about trees. But this is going to be a fantastic fight. Obviously, Golden just stepping up in short notice, and you know you've got to come here and make an impact, Doctor. If you're stepping up in short notice, you've got to come out and make a flash statement to the people of the world.
Yeah, well, short notice fights are possibly the best and worst fights you can take. They bring you a good reputation within the league. They show that you're up for any fight. It does mean, however, that you do get a little time to repair. So it's kind of this double-edged sword. Will you be able to make a comeback with this and make yourself known, or will you possibly face extreme difficulty, especially since sometimes your replacement you're going up against is sometimes a lot more better and not typically the fighters you would be fighting when you're looking at the matchmaking side. Does duck and the uppercut, digs down to the body, and Burns and Edwards here are going straight at it here, Reaper.
They are, you know, it's definitely getting very, very action-packed very, very quickly here early in the first round. But Doc, just to go back to your analogy there about being a late replacement, I actually think being a late replacement favours you, for the simple reason is when the card gets released on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, right, you do it, everyone does it, let's not lie here, everyone says, okay, have you fought this guy, have you fought this guy, have you fought this guy, and then you get to fight night and you find out it's a completely different opponent, and you're like, right, cool, so game plan, what is it? I have no idea, Humble, but you're gonna have to do something.
Yeah, exactly. You procrastinate, don't you? You think about your opponent, you even try and mimic them, you get them in your head slightly. You look for footage, there's little bits and bobs you can do, especially if you care, and you know your teammates can prepare you, and all of a sudden you're fighting Dirty Dave. It's just a completely different fight. You know, that's exactly what happens.
I mean, Dirty Dave's definitely one of the fighters, but I would definitely say KM Caliber is more of the fighters you want to be talking about when you talk about replacements. Here, though, you see both of them going at it. Burns is just trying to stay alive, playing on that back foot, does go for the takedown, gets it effectively, but does gas himself out in the process. Now being stuck in full guards, Edwards takes the back, and Gold knows the story. He has a very good understanding of the grappling. If he can just take the back by the looks of it, maybe go for a back flat, he can offer a rear naked choke to add more direct to his game here.
Yeah, he can indeed. And who would have thought we'd see Leon Edwards riding the back of a Gilbert Burns here, Humble? You know, this is really putting Kevin P out of sorts here, because he's the one initiating the takedowns, right? And then to get reversed, get taken down, and then get your back taken, it doesn't really give you much left to work with.
Yeah, it doesn't, but at the same time, it kind of kills your momentum. We've got to remember these are players and not actual fighters. You know, these guys are controlling these fighters, and they've got to put in the inputs and actually, you know, use that fighter correctly. And if Golden Kid at the moment is trying to mix it up a bit better than Kevin P, that's what Kevin P needs to do, something to stop it. But he does land a beautiful combination as he gets caught on the exit there, Doc.
Oh, very nice, very fluid, and here we see just Golden Kid saying fairly well paced. Like the cardio as well is a lot higher, I'd say, and that's a kind of a big issue when it comes to Burns. As soon as that cardio's gone, as soon as that chin's gone, his recovery stats so low that it makes life extremely difficult to really get anything back, to really come back in the fight here, Reaper.
Yeah, you're spot on, Doc. And you know, with Leon Edwards as well, he's really tall, he's really lanky, right? As Rara would say, he's a lanky bastard. You know, he needs to use his length and not initiate in the grappling. You know, Gilbert Burns has power, he has dynamite in both of his hands. when he can't reach you with his fists, it doesn't really leave much less to rely on, Humble.
Yeah, he needs to work his way into the pocket. And if you give him something to try and work around to start with, he's going to become more predictable. And I think that's where we're going with it, Reaper. If you make your opponent dance to your rhythm and deal with your jab and your front kick, he's going to become he's going to move side to side, which is going to make him vulnerable to hooks and kicks from the side. So you've got to make him do that. You've got to make them exactly adapt to what your attributes are in your fighter. And for somehow Gilbert Burns going to have to work his way on the inside, Doctor, and become the wrestler or the short power puncher that he is.
Well, another takedown shot. This is exactly what he wants to do if he's going to follow through that game plan of wrestling. He's got to stay patient, though. You're going to look for the top man. You're going to look for any type of subs. This is a very good option. Does take the backside here. Does get the reversal, though, and that's big for Edwards. He can get straight back on the feet, and that takedown doesn't matter. That's a lot of energy wasted, but so far, it's only a minute into the fight. This is still all to play for, especially with the first round being decently close. However...
Big front kick to the face there. Biggest kick of the fight, that. I'm joking, but he got caught with some big shots and he needs to be careful because Golden is looking golden, Reaper, as he lands a beautifully timed knee to the noggin right there.
Golden is on point. He's come with his P's and Q's on point. He's come with his hands on point, his kicks on point, his defensive wrestling on point. And Kevin P once again initiating a takedown and hoping this is the time, Doc, he can stay on top of this fight.
Well, top mount is a good place to stay on top if you can maintain the position, get a couple of shots down here, get a stun even. You're going to look for a very good time. Lovely job though on the defense, although he's getting clipped heavily there. The Burns his hands hits hard. If you can land a couple of shots to them, they do good chin damage. You just need to make sure you land them consistently. Side saddle as well, good shot to land some damaging punches. But lovely deny there, and this could be it. All she wrote if he's not careful.
And like the sun coming through the clouds, Reaper, he's just seen his opportunity right there flash before his eyes. The great Kev P has realised there is opportunity on the ground and he needs to do some damage right now.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten it. He's getting a little bit more comfortable, right? He's growing in confidence. You know, we all seen that screen turn red for Golden Kid, and he wasn't really blocking. He had no block. So if Kevin P can really just relax himself, calm himself, get his denials on point as he is doing here, Doc, he may find some sort of success late in this round, early in the third if we get there.
Yeah, indeed, he does have that success, but it's going to be an uphill battle. That stamina's slowly lowering, going further and further down. The stamina Edwards is slowly staying just consistent, and more in overall is better, and that's kind of what makes or break your grappling. If you have higher stamina than your opponent, it just makes your life easier, but it seems like Kev P is going to have to really dig deep and really find the best shot and the best way to make a comeback here.
Forget about the stamina, Doc. He is taking over the fight at the moment. You've got to look at confidence right now, and great Kev P is on top. He's been on top for about 3.5, nearly 4 minutes of this fight, and although he's had some adversity in this one, it is the last 4 minutes he has been dominating this fight. Let's not forget that.
He hasn't done much damage overall. It seems like he had that one good top mount, but that's really about it. And compared to Edwards with the stun and stuff, I would definitely lean more towards that. But as again, though, we've seen how the judges scored it. I bring us back to the Hybrid versus Fatal fight.
We've never seen the judges, Doc. We've just seen how you judge fights. You judge them completely wrong.
Well, yeah, well, according to the judges, they also judge it completely wacky as well. But we continue, Humble.
I'm not joking, but yeah, Reaper, being a great fight so far. Seen the knockdown there early in that second round, but you have to have a question mark there. If someone's dominated you for 4 minutes of a round, how can you essentially completely think that you might have won that entire round? You know, you've had one little moment. We know it happens, but it's a closer round than people think there.
Do you know what, right? I was thinking the same thing, Humble, as you were saying that, until I saw the replay, and then I remembered that Gilbert Burns hit the deck. So as far as I'm concerned, Edwards won that round. After seeing that last fight, I don't care. I'm just punching people in the face from now on. I'm not taking anybody down. It seems to be pointless here, though.
I mean, if you do it correctly, you definitely understand. But so far, most people are kind of struggling to get the damage up on the ground, which is significant. You have got to take into account what position you're doing the ground and pound off. For instance, if you're doing it in full guard, not much damage gets done. If you're doing it in half guard, a bit of damage gets done. If you're doing it in side control, the game doesn't count the damage, but damage does get done. Top mount
quite a lot of damage gets done. But so far we're back on the feet. Edwards is completely calm, completely patient. He knows that if he wants to exchange, he's probably going to be better off just because his stam is a bit higher. That means that he has less vulnerability when he's a bit more gassed.
The first minute of the fight, Kev P got him on the floor again, continuing with his game plan, but at the same time, and now you can see Golden Kid coming on. Golden's coming back with that, but he needs to avoid this, Reaper, and that's where exactly he needs to be on point. He cannot be getting taken down, because he could, even though we don't think it, he could potentially lose this fight. We know how that third round is scored. Sometimes it's scored more favourably than the other 2 rounds that can sway a fight. Being proven.
Yeah, look, you're spot on, Humble. We all know the third round is scored the highest in the judges' eyes, right? That's the round you really got to win. If you have a close round 1 and 2 and you can win a round 3 quite convincingly, the judges will more than likely score in your favour. But what I don't like Kevin P is doing is, I feel like he's down 2 rounds and he's still shooting for takedowns. And I feel like he's just trying not to lose. I don't feel like he's trying to win. I just feel like
that is a way to lose that round and knock down there already. The stam extremely low, Reaper, and it's an uphill battle, and that's been the kind of the battle he's been fighting non-stop here. And Edwards is just looking with the 1-2 shots, poking, prodding, exiting out of the pocket, letting Golden Boy not Kev P overextend, and that is the type of shots that are really hitting home there. Just when he overextends, just as his stamina's low, and he just lands the shot cleanly.
Go back to the body there, but it looks like this is a kind of walking down, beating up process. It's all about positioning for Golden right now. He's kind of walking his opponent back, feinting, moving. He knows he's got the stamina advantage. He knows he's got the rocks. He knows he's got this fight in the bag so far, Reaper. He's just looking for that one kind of knockout highlight reel, but he needs to get it for them extra points.
Yeah, you know, everyone wants those extra points. Look, realistically, we all want to do that flying knee Jorge Masvidal style and get a nice win and get those points racked up, right? And as you guys can see here as well, Leon Edwards, he's still trying to finish.
Oh,
and
lovely job.
Kevin P is also still trying to finish. You know, he's still punching away, but I just think it's too little too late for Kevin. He had a great game plan with the wrestling in the second round, as you said, Humble. He had nearly 4 minutes of control time. But yeah, it was just a case of this round. Wait.
Is a wild shot.
I wonder what the judges are going to score. Let's have a look. It'd be interesting to see if it's 30-27 or 29-28, depending if it does go to Kev P. I'm thinking it's going to.
All 3 judges score this contest 30-27, declaring the winner by
30-27 in the favour of Leon Edwards.
30-27, nice, great fight from Golden there. Came in on short notice, as we talked about. Reaper took over that fight and seemed kind of flawless at times, apart from the ground game. Maybe a bit of a scare right there, maybe a bit of tactics to kind of wear his opponent out, let his opponent work. I like to do that a lot as well, and you know, it sometimes pays off when you let somebody kind of waste a bit of stamina on the ground and pound, exert their energy where they can't really hurt you.
Yeah, 100%. You know, you're dead right there, Humble. There's a lot of mind games to the fight game, right? And a lot of people will kind of say, well, I just go in there and I press buttons and I punch people in the face. You can purposely let yourself get taken down, you know, to give them little glimmer of hope, and then reverse it and then completely ruin their mood and make them want to throw the PlayStation out the window, you know. But you know, it's one of those things where it's a double-edged sword, because you are letting them grow in confidence as the fight goes. And you know, Gilbert Burns, he only really does need one denial to lock up a submission, which we didn't actually see, which I'm very, very shocked about.
Yeah, sometimes it's the way it goes. You can't get a grappling going, you can't get the right denials in the right time. Sometimes the subs don't happen. I particularly like side control if you're looking for subs. But hey, it's the way it goes. Anyhow, though, we are moving on to the next fight of this evening. We're going to have to skip around TXCCH. His replacement is currently still just working off the rest of his tiramisu. Hopefully we get to see him versus Megatony. But instead, we'll go up the class. We may hopefully get to see him a bit later. We will have Lepo versus AJ Scott in the bantamweight division. Lepo, yep, this is the fight. Good. I'm with it. I'm alive. Sorry. And
Doc is still drunk, I think, from his. You know what it is, Doc? These guys, he's had that tiramisu. You know, I know he's trying to get it off, but why are you having that before you fight, Reaper? You know, you're having a good tiramisu, good curry before you fight. You need to go to the toilet. We all know this with Derek Lewis. You can't just come out and expect to brawl when you've had a tiramisu.
Come here, mate. Listen, Khabib ate tiramisu before his fights, and he went 29-0. As far as I'm concerned, I'm eating tiramisu every day of my fight day, Humble.
That's creeps me. That's fucking great.
It's tiramisu time. It's tiramisu time. What can you say?
But what we're going to do right now, we've got one of the best, the GOAT, Aldo versus Rob Font. Doc cracked that absolute beauty earlier on. Danny Ige beat Rob Font's younger brother, and that's beautiful.
He
right
genuinely looked like Rob Font's younger brother.
No, it doesn't. That's why it was freaking funny, because I didn't even recognise it until you said it. But these two fighters, man,
I think I called him Rob Font during the fight because I forgot we were in featherweight.
It's going to be an interesting one. Great characters, great fighters, Reaper. These two are going to come out and show their skills in this main card.
Yeah, 100%. You know, like Lepo, you know, me and Lepo are very, very good friends. You know, you might see us in the community where we're very, very respectful of each other. And then, you know, you have AJ Scott, who's using the featherweight go in Jose Aldo. He's got very, very clean kickboxing. And, you know, if LW Lepo keeps walking into that power, we may have an early finish here in our hands, Doc, because he's not actually throwing at him back, and he's allowing himself to be pieced up here by 3, 4, 5 shot combinations.
Jesus, like across the board, you got the head kick there, you had a couple of rear hooks, you have the leg kicks as well, slowly chopping him down. It does get a takedown, and now this is where it gets interesting. Lepo is this pressure striker, very aggressive on the ground, but he's also got a weird ability to get subs. It's just a weird perk. Lepo just has a knack for tying up Kimuras every now and again. He gets beat up on the feet, but somehow, in some form or way, he comes back and with a random submission. Although, as I say, Aldo does get the reversal, goes to see him in top mount, and this could be it if he's not careful now.
Yeah, and to talk about a bit of these records this season, so we've got AJ Scott, who's currently ranked 2-0 in the Xbox division, sitting pretty at number 18, and then we've got Lepo, a bit of a veteran, 4-4 at the moment, Reaper. We see it so many times, a guy that's 2-0, rising star, could be a couple of wins away from a title shot potentially. He's fighting a young grizzly veteran, you know, who's coming along, and he's got to get past that task, because Lepo's no joke, he's not an easy fighter to kind of beat.
Yeah, 100%. Like, look, come here, look, Lepo is definitely no joke. You know, he's very, very talented, as Doc says. He's got this way of just getting submissions and having the fight go his way when it may not essentially be going his way, Humble. But, you know, AJ Scott, he's looking very, very calm right now. He's looking very clean. He knows what he wants to throw when he wants to throw it. And, you know, LW Lepo being grounded here at the moment is definitely not where he wants to be, Doc, especially so late into the first round.
Very late into the first round, but lovely clean defense. I think is the most notable thing here. He isn't playing too aggressively. He isn't making mistakes. He sadly didn't get a get up, although I think that's the game just being the game more than his actual play style. And now we see him go into the side control. Fantastic job there, getting the night as well. Lepo's struggling, but he hasn't taken too much damage overall. He took some damage on the feet, but when it comes to the ground, a couple of elbow shots, a couple more if he's careful, but so far his entire defense has stayed relatively calm and simple here.
Definitely has. He's got a nice position right here. Could posture up to do some damage if he wants. It's an interesting position to kind of go for. I always love that position, Reaper, because you've got a few powerful options. You can go back to sprawl if you want to as well and attack that body. You can posture up, attack the head, try and take the back, or kind of camp on some denials as well and get some grapple advantage. But nice work there, roll through and get to guard, Reaper.
Yeah, look, if you have loads of different positions you can go, right? And that's what makes it maybe one of the most difficult positions to deny. Because you're really going off not even a 50-50 chance, you're really going off a 1 in 3 or maybe even a 1 in 4 chance. So, and then obviously if you try to reverse the position, there's always that sweep into side control that you can do. And, you know, Doc, coming into this second round, I'd like to see Lepo keep it on the feet, and I'd like to see him throw his hands a little bit more, because his head health is a little bit low, but I feel like if he can just start working the body of Jose Aldo, he might have some success.
Well, if he gets a jab established, if he builds that distance, if he uses the length for Rob Font, I think I'll definitely agree. So far, though, he's letting Aldo have his way, poking and prodding the distance he wants, kicking him there, like so. Does get a good blocking off, but again, meets him with a straight, keeps him with a hook there, and so far, Rob Font just boxing is just having very much a difficult time getting going here, Humble.
Yeah, definitely. You've got like 5 to 10 seconds to get the bets on. We did get them on late, but you can get them on quickly. It's been a very good fight so far. I think Lepos took a lot of that damage, and it's been great kind of execution from Scott. Ooh, I could have mixed it up right there, Reaper, as he catches him with a spinning elbow right there, but not quite flush on the face. And I believe they're on the ground right now. It's a good shot.
Yeah, definitely not enough to get the rock off for Lepo there, but definitely enough to let him know that Rob Font will spin, right? It gives you that other thing now is, okay, well, maybe I won't lean my head on my next combination because I might get caught with a spin, and I definitely don't want that, especially with the power Rob Font has. It doesn't really matter how badly he's losing the fight. If you lean into a shot like a spinning elbow, you're getting rock dock, and that's just the end of it.
You have got to make sure your head movement is close, otherwise you will end up with those issues. An armbar here though, and this is where it gets scary. Lepo is known for this type of stuff. He'll pull out the sub out of nowhere. It does look to be in the favour of Aldo though, very quickly building up. You also saw the very low stamina of Lepo to not give it in his favour. However, now we are in half guard. He's still in top position. He's still got straight. He's got an arm triangle. He has Kimura from side control if he wants to risk it here, Humble. But so far, it seems like top mount is the place he wants to go.
Yeah, definitely. And let's break this down a bit as well, Reaper, because at the moment you've seen AJ Scott he's been going to the left a lot, and I can see that Lepo's kind of picked up on that. He started camping quite a bit on the left, and he gets away with it there, but beautiful reversal with the Kimura sweep, Reaper.
It was a beautiful reversal. And did you notice that as well by AJ Scott? He almost did like this fake kind of posting kind of situation where it allowed himself to get the arm trap for the Kimura sweep. So that was very clever. I might have to add that to my arsenal. You know, it's always different when you're watching fights. You're able to see a little bit more than what you would if you were fighting. But yeah, no, Humble, listen, let's break it down. You're spot on. Lepo is 4-4 and AJ Scott is 2-0, right? So he's undefeated in prime time this season, 2-0. He wants to keep his undefeated streak alive, and coming up against a grizzled vet like LW Lepo, where you're going to be tested, and right now he's passing with flying colours as far as I'm concerned.
Doc?
Very close overall. Both of them are grizzly fighters here. This is really testing the ability of Aldo, but he lands that front kick to end the round, and it's a hell of a fight between the two of them here, Humble.
Yeah, definitely. Aldo said, "Grizzly, eat my toes," right there, as he caught him clean on the mush, and you know, he's got to be worried right now, because Lepo's been. He's not really got a lot off at the moment, Reaper. He hasn't done a lot of damage, and that stamina is worrying from AJ Scott, because he's barely for a punch.
Yeah, isn't it? It's almost like we're in the first round of the fight rather than the third round. And AJ Scott has been able to play to a way that's really, in my opinion, really just stunned Lepo.
Oh, look at this.
And he's just on point, and he's come with everything on point. He was prepared, he was ready. It didn't matter who was stepping into the cage with him tonight. He wanted the win, and he's dedicated to getting the win here tonight, Doc.
He's dedicated to getting the win, and Lepo is trying his damnedest. Spinning elbow, what you called for earlier, and that's exactly what he did. That left leg, though, is hurt. Rob Font doesn't have much power, and that leg being hurt even more so means that he has less power, trying desperately, and he measures a switch kick there. Did quite a lot to the body. Again, kicking his leg, trying his hardest anyway here. Possible, Humble, but so far, so difficult, it seems.
You've got to get a bit crazy out there, you know what I mean? You can't just keep it all the same. You can't hit for tight when you're losing that battle. It's got to get a bit different. You've got to make it interesting. You've got to make your opponent walk into something that you're not used to throwing, you know. He's not used to you throwing. And that's exactly what he did with the spinning elbow. He throws it again right now. He's got to be careful that doesn't become too predictable. Scott will pick up on that. But he's causing him to do the same thing. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, that kick is just steadily looking for the pullback, hoping for something, but instead doesn't get it. It does duck down with the body kick, reducing the power, fires the body kick there, hoping to get a stun, nearly gets clipped with that spinning elbow of doom, and with that 2 minutes left on the clock, both of them hoping for any shots as the stream decides it needs a break suddenly.
He's turned to an helicopter, Reaper, with those spinning elbows.
He has indeed, right? But hey, look, Humble, if it works...
Oh!
It'll work, and Lepo's a grizzled vet. Lepo knows what he needs to do to win this fight. He's not naive. He knows he's down 2 rounds and he needs a finish. And right now he was on the cusp of getting the finish. You know, he got a rock again, but now here comes AJ Scott. He's ready to take back over the fight once again, Humble.
Ooh, lovely. Oh, a little bit of leg kick there as well. Always making sure to pepper the leg kick, making your opponent think they're low. As he goes high, that block is shot to shit, it seems like. Ducks under, overhand.
Oh, but did he get lucky? Because now he's starting to take more punishment as Scott tries to end this fight in the third round. Closer to 40 seconds left. And it's over.
And
AJ Scott gets the finish in the third round in emphatic fashion, Reaper.
Yeah, AJ Scott, he came prepared tonight. He had a game plan. He stuck to it. He let Rob Font walk into his power early on in the first round. The second round, he started out grappling him. And then in that third round, it was just too late for LW Lepo. And, you know, LW Lepo now 4-5. It's a shame because LW Lepo is always he's always been he's, how do you put it? He's like, he's a veteran, right? But he has these fights where he kind of just loses himself in these fights and kind of plays like whatever happens. I'd love to see LW Lepo play like, do you know what? No, I'm going to win this fight X, Y, and Z. But sometimes you just get beat.
You just get beat indeed. It just happens now and then, and that's something that you can't help. You know, I do believe we're going to go back to the last fight, Doctor. I think you're just getting that one sorted right now, but great fight there for both guys. I'm just going to give people the predictions because I'm on duty tonight, Reaper. But you know, I don't know if Doc's still there at the moment, Doc.
Doc is just taking care of something in the back, Humble. But Humble, why me and you are here, all right? Mm-hmm. Let's break down the rest of this fight card. We got Spartan War and Johnny 2049 in the main event. You heard it on the intro. Johnny, a former champion, he really did burst onto the primetime scene, came out of nowhere, travelled from Iceland for all these fights, born in mountains, born in the cold, the heart of a warrior, and he's fighting an Irish star tonight in Spartan War. Obviously, we know Spartan War, a young Irish man who is very, very talented on the sticks. Both kickboxers going with the Conor McGregor and the Dustin Poirier pick. Who do you have in that one, Humble? Who do you favour in that one?
Well, I'm a friend of Spartan. I've been a friend of Spartan for a long time, but I'm also a friend of Johnny, so I've played Johnny quite a bit on this game. And, you know, let's talk about the Icelandicness as well, because, you know, he's come from Iceland. There's been a surge of MMA that took off in Iceland in Reykjavik, and, you know, Gunnar Nelson started that off, and you see all these people come through. Now you're starting to see it in the video games as well, and top competitors such as Johnny Boy. He is truly representing the country on his own at the moment. I don't know if there's many players I know from Iceland, but I definitely know Johnny. You know, Reaper, and that's something you've got to. When you carry a flag on your back, we've seen it before. It can take you to the moon, and if he goes all the way in this esports competition, you never know where you can be eventually in the future. Especially when the more games come out, he could be representing a country with a lot of different people in the esports community on his back.
Yeah, you said it best there, Humble. 100%. He really is carrying the flag on his own here, right? He's come onto the esports scene. He's come into primetime predominantly and won the primetime championship. You have to remember, there's people been here for seasons upon seasons, myself included, and we cannot seem to get close to that title, right? Everyone wants that title, and here comes this young man from Iceland, virtually unknown, and says, "I want that belt. I'll take that belt," and he goes and does it. How crazy is that? Like, that is crazy.
Yeah, he did it against a bloody good fighter as well in Filthy Uncle as well, one of my teammates. And, you know, Filthy was on a tear. He beat the champion for it.
Sorry to cut you off there. I mean, if you want to make it look even more impressive, you have also got to mention he did it with a calf pick against McGregor.
Yeah, he did. Sure, yeah. Way to rub it in, Doc.
Way to rub it in. Maybe the case.
Doc is back with a bang.
I am back with a bang. But let's get straight into the next fight of the season after you two did a fantastic job talking about the history of Johnny by the sounds of it and his Icelandic nature. We are going to go back to one fight just before Aleppo versus AJ Scott on the fight card of TXCCH.
Doc, has he finished his tiramisu? Did it come out?
He finished all his tiramisu, so hopefully he comes out and wins. Megatony is the guy filling up since his opponent got stuck chasing a couple of cats, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong. He did run past me screaming and so who particularly sure. However, we're in the bantamweight division. Any picks go. So they do have a ban. Who particularly knows? Maybe we get word on the back. But with that all being said, we have a Cruz versus Aldo by the looks of it here.
nice picks. But I just got to say as well, your bets are on. Get your bets in. We are a site that allows you, the audience, to join in with us and have some fun. And you can bet those channel points, Reaper, the all exclusive channel points, and build them up on these bets. And maybe we'll have some stuff in the future, maybe some merch, maybe some stuff in the future, some games or whatever we can do to keep people going, and you can spend those points. But try and build them channel points and bet on each other. It's an important part of the experience.
It is, right? Like, let's be honest, right? When we're not commentating or anything like that, we're betting. Right, it's our nature. We want to bet on two men trying to poke the head off each other inside
If
the
I
cage.
could bet on primetime fights, I would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm normally the guy running the prediction, so I can't bet. Otherwise, I can't choose the out.
It's horrible not to bet. I'm itchy at the moment. I'm used to betting on these fights. Actually, made a mistake. But Megatoni versus Tech. Megatoni currently 4-5 in the division. Tech currently 1-1. These both have got a pretty similar record. One of them needs to step up tonight, though, Doc, and kind of take over. Make sure they're pushing their name forward over the other person's at the other person's detriment.
Yep, well, we have the leg kicks already starting off. A couple of checks on either side. Aldo's going to make sure that his leg kicks don't get too checked, otherwise he's going to have no leg health. And Aldo with no leg health doesn't sound right, you've got to imagine. Here we'd see, though, Cruz engaging in the striking department. He will probably see a bit more footwork by the guy, maybe a bit of wrestling as well. But so far, Aldo seems to be the guy putting on the pressure here, Reaper.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you would expect, right, you would have an Aldo putting the pressure on a Dominic Cruz player. You know, you have Aldo's power, you have Aldo's kicks, but then again, you have Dominic Cruz's kind of weird, clunky kind of signature movement. You have Cruz's footwork, and both of these fighters have had a buff. So, I've seen a lot more Dominic Cruz's on the scene more so than I've seen a lot more Aldo's, Humble.
But Aldo's had two buffs, no buff, absolutely massive for his two big wins that he got. And Dominic Cruz's buff never really affects that power, which is what kind of lets him down and makes him sort of, even though his movement's great, he doesn't do a lot of damage. So you've got to really do a bit more work if you're Megatoni. You've got to really outpoint your opponent, whereas Aldo's going to come with those kicks. Oh, I just heard that, and he says, "Shut up, humble dink," as I'm going to show you exactly how much power I've got as he drops his opponent, Reaper.
Yeah, you know, Megatoni was like, oh, he didn't get extra power added on. That's okay. I'll just have to knock him out with the power he already had, Humble. But yeah, you know, Megatoni's settling into this fight really well. He's using his movements well, and he's getting out of Aldo's range, and Aldo's forced to come forward and try to close that distance, Doc. And with Dominic Cruz, you know, he's looking to land 2 to 3 shots, and then he's dipping out of the range, as you can see there.
Yeah, one of the many interesting quirks about Megatoni is he's normally not a striker. Like, he's having a lot of success on the feet, but normally he's a wrestler. Normally he's the guy shooting the takedowns, looking to keep it on the ground, looking to keep it all calm and composed there. But instead, he's having an easy time here, just coming in and out against Aldo, poking him, prodding him with that jab. Again, that jab established, followed by the strike, and that's exactly where you want to do it. But Aldo comes back all of a sudden here, Reaper.
Yeah, you know, Aldo got very, 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 very good hands there, he did, and he landed that straight and rocked Cruz, and now Cruz shoots for a takedown because of it and gets tripped. Now, Megatoni, he's been rocked, right? He's felt Aldo's power now. The head health is depleted a little bit, not as much as the Aldo player, but he may still want to stay in his bike and not get caught into a striking war here, Humble.
Yeah, and I'm getting annoyed with Tesh as well, because he's thrown 1-2 over and over and over again, and he's walked into it over and over and over again. You've got to make reads. Like, you can't just keep walking into the same shots over and over again. If someone's thrown a 1-2, that's your opportunity. There's ways to slip off that centre line. You know, a lot of shots at the moment from Dominic Cruz are coming down the middle. All he's doing is he's letting his opponent walk straight into his shots, just like Holly Holm versus Ronda Rousey. She cut off the line, she made sure her opponent chased her, and she threw shots down the middle. It's a simple strategy, but you've got to get around that strategy. You've got to be the person coming around those shots and then catching your opponent. You can't just keep letting him do it over and over again, Doctor.
Well, Megatoni takes him straight down to the ground, giving him no chance to really make any adaptations, but we are back on the feet. A slip straight there, a switch kick also follows. Hopefully he's able to get a couple more reads on that jab. Now you mention it, you can definitely start to see how that jab straight is really affecting the game. It's
the same thing.
Just the same thing over and over again. In, out. Just shake it all about and make sure that Aldo is suffering from it here, Reaper.
Yeah, he's using the footwork of the in and out game so well. But even at this stage, Humble, I don't know about yourself, but I'm starting to read when he's going to throw it, and I'm getting frustrated now.
It's as a player, it's something I notice straight away. If someone does something a lot, you've got to make adaptations. Like, that's your opportunity right there to tell the world, oh, look, I know how to adapt in a fight. I can't just fight my game plan. I can fight to my weaknesses of my opponents. There we go, finally, there we go.
He's learning, he's listening.
And look at the damage he caused by just one good
Well,
time. Oh,
and we
two
got
in a row.
it again. That is exactly what you do. It turns out apparently the commentary booth is giving Corner a
Sorry,
vibe.
I'm sorry, Megatoni. It was annoying me.
Humble's like a proud father. He's like, there we go.
There we are. There we
Reaper
go. But now
walks-
it's Megatoni's time as well. He's got to make adaptations as well, Reaper. Let's talk about that. He's got to make. He needs to stop throwing that 1-2 now and start throwing other shots. He's clocked onto it. You need to start mixing it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, you can throw out the jab, feint the straight, and come along with the lead hook. You know, that could be another thing there. We're basically giving these guys the recipe for success here, Humble.
A flying knee, though, does land. Fantastic job there. The jab straight's coming out again, probably wanting to look to get. So slip straight to the rear hook, though, is also coming out. A jab rear hook to counter the head movement is a very effective way of doing it. It's just a case of if Cruz can mix it up between the jab straight and the jab rear hook here.
And that's the thing as well, Reaper. We talk about it a lot, but like if you're watching, if you're in the UFC and you're watching the commentary there, the fighters don't have a headpiece in where they can listen to the commentary as they're talking about the fight, whereas these guys actually can, and sometimes do. So it sometimes can affect the fight, but it's not our problem. We can't deal with that. But it has been a good fight, good competitive fight so far. Good knock, as we'd say, Reaper, as he catches him with a jab straight again.
And a switch kick, followed by the switch straight, and gets a knockdown. 40 seconds left. Did the up kick, catches him, and I think they're just going to last it out 30 seconds. Does jumping on the guard, looking down. It's a bit of ground and pound, probably not going to do major damage, but just a bit of power shot to really just to secure the round. I feel like here. I don't know who's winning here, Reaper. Honestly.
Yeah, you know, yeah. It's starting to get a really close fight, right? You had Dominic Cruz, who was essentially in the first round running away with it, as Humble said. Footsies, jab straight. Footsies, jab straight. Round two was even more footsies and jab straight. But he kind of caught on a little bit, right? He started throwing his straight, slipping his head off the center line, getting him with that straight, right? It's fundamentals 101. If your opponent is throwing the same combination for a period of 5 minutes and you don't think to move your head, there's a problem there. But now both men have now gathered each other's game plans. So now going into this third round, I have no idea who is going to win or who may be winning this fight, Humble.
Yeah, if you're Megatoni as well, you're definitely thinking to yourself, you know, I've got it biting on the jab straight right now. If I add a jab straight hook into there, if I go jab hook, there's a few different combinations that I can kind of throw now where I know he's biting on my shot. So we'll see. Interested to see how Megatoni kind of approaches this one and how, you know, Aldo, if he continues to catch him with them, the obvious opportunities that he has, or is he going to get taken down and control this back to the last 4 minutes?
Well, a massive reversal there already. Cruz probably biting himself because he's got reversed now. Aldo on top, looking for the elbows here, and so far he seems to be having most success on the feet, and with the ground following suit. Does attempt the back mount, doesn't get it sadly, but you also got a ground and pound offers here. Does end up in the full guard Reaper, and it just seems like Cruz is just hoping for something just to delay any type of major damage here.
Yeah, you know, maybe Megatoni feels like he's ahead in this fight. Maybe he feels like he's up 2 rounds and a wrestling background. And wrestling to a decision is something to keep him happy, because if you guys look at the head health there, it is quite low for both fighters. And one pull, one slip straight, one spin in the heel kick to
one
the
straight
chin,
jab straight, it seems
straight.
like.
100 jab straight, and you know, there's a beautiful shot right there. Like, catch him at the end, and it is end of the day. I'd love to take Tech into just a week's training with myself, just for sidesteps alone, because it's less dangerous. You can keep your guard up, and you know, you can completely eradicate any sort of straight shots, leaving your opponent completely vulnerable, especially if they're throwing doubles. Every single time, you know, you're going to bring the stamina quite quickly. So it's a technique that he can kind of adapt. A lot to work on for this guy right now. And Megatoni as well has done a great job. Stick to what's working, right, Reaper?
Yeah, 100%. Come here, look, he's sticking to what works as well. But Humble, it's to go back to what you were saying about taking him and training him for a week, you know. Humble. He politely declined your offer for the week of training. Yeah. But no, yeah, Humble, look, you're spot on. And it goes back to maybe he does just need a little bit more work in learning the game. But Megatoni too. Like Megatoni was only throwing jab straights. And for a player that does know the game, Megatoni's out of there and won with a slip straight lead overhand.
I love that he did that. That's insane.
I mean, the entire fight was a wild fight back and forth. I just have to mention how quick he went to fight stats. Like, normally we see a quick rage quit, but instead he went straight to fight stats.
I beat him up and he got lucky. That's what that is right there. That's me. That's me 3 a.m, absolutely fuming because I've been winning a fight decisively and someone catches me that one shot and gets a finish or some lucky ground and pound. You know how it is.
Humble, what are you doing awake at 3 o'clock in the morning?
I don't know, playing UFC obviously.
Obviously.
Bad decisions and life choices, as you can see.
And so, we've had that wild fight. We've seen fights which have had some big balls in them, bit mental across the board. But now we get to the man who goes by big balls. Big Balls Ned is making his return to the octagon against Reepies, I believe, in the light heavyweight division of all things. Both of these guys are on the PlayStation side. Big Balls Ned, notorious for his big balls. Would it be the case that would he be able to win or lose with Big Balls Ned? I doubt he'll be much without a challenge.
Yeah, 100%. He's fighting Reepsy as well. I don't know too much about Reepsy. I actually thought it was you for a second there, Reaper, when I seen his name. Very similar names right there. I was actually thinking, are you taking on Ned tonight? But I just have to talk about Ned because, he is my teammate, as people know. Big Balls Ned is an absolute beast, and he's just an absolute animal.
Come here, listen, Humble. I think me and Ned would agree that we have fought enough for a lifetime only in prime time. We fought something like 4 or 5 times in prime time alone, and that's it. We literally get matched up nowhere else. But Humble, I'm going to need 2 things from you in this fight. I'm going to need a balanced level of cheerleading, and I'm going to need a balanced level of biasness.
Oh, 100%. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Don't worry about it. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight. Obviously, I fight him a lot, and he's my arch enemy. My arch enemy, you know what that is? He's that person who kind of beats you up. Can't really find a recipe to beat him, and now and then I do. But a lot of times he's beating me up, and it's some consistency in fight league stock. He's got to find that if he wants to look successful. But Reepsy's going to come in today and try and take his head off with Jiri.
Well, Jerry has the power. What I want to do mention about, if nobody's ever used Gustafsson in the light heavyweight division, he's a lot quicker. Like for some reason, he's like Bisping in middleweight in UFC 3. He's just a lot quicker, a lot more fluid, and across the board a very fun type to use. And that's kind of what you got. You got the power, you got the kicks, you've got the elbows of Jiri Prochazka versus the speed and agility of Gustafsson here, Reaper.
Yeah, 100%. Like, Yuri Prochazka has that spinning technique. He loves to spin. He loves his elbows. It's how he got Dominic Reyes out of there. And, the thing I find with Ned is I like Ned a lot and I respect Ned a lot. And I've actually had, I've talked to Ned before about it, and I've asked him, Ned, why do you fight so much on the back foot? Because that's where I gave Ned most of his trouble, is when he let me control the entire cage. And I find that when Ned's moving forward and he's fighting more like... And he's fighting more like Bang Bang, he's having a lot more success, Humble.
I agree. Yeah, Ned always gives me trouble when he comes forward a lot more. And if you can get him thinking, I think that's the key for Jiri in this one. You've got to keep Ned thinking. You can't let him get in his flow because he's such a fantastic and prolific striker when it comes to picking his shots as he's going forward. When you start doubting yourself, he starts making predictions, and that's where he's fantastic. So you've got to take him off his game. You've got to make him not thinking and kind of be reactive instead of proactive, Doc.
Yeah, making sure that you're always proactive in any type of fight situation you are is kind of the best way, because as soon as you just become passive, you start losing the fight. And that's just the way it can be sometimes, Reaper.
Yeah, absolutely. The more passive fighter isn't always the most best way to go about it. You have a lot of passive-aggressive fighters in the UFC that can fight off the back foot. Example, Conor McGregor. He's very, very good at fighting off the back foot. He's got power off his back foot when he plants and rips. And he's a counter-striker too. And Ned fights like a counter-striker, but he doesn't really tend to want to counter a lot, especially when you're coming forward. He does his best work when he's on the front foot and he is pushing forward. And it's even evident in this fight. You can see him now. He's pushing forward. He's landing great leg kicks. He's landing his lovely straights. And he's forcing Reepsy to miss now.
I'd like to see him push it more. And he's got a lot of different shots as well, but his Arsenal right there. Just a betting line. I wish I could have bet on this fight because I would have supported my point. But at the moment, the betting line is 100%.
I'm starting to think you've got a gambling addiction from Rumble.
I just like supporting my teammates, Doc. 100%.
I feel like you've also got a bit of bias since you're a matchmaker in this case.
Of course, well, not on this one, but I don't think I let Fadinate kind of pick on fights now as the Xbox player. So there's no bias in any sort of matchmaking at all. But what I was about to say is the 100% of the betting lines went into GB's favour.
That. I feel like when that happens, that's people going off fighter picks rather than knowing the people behind the screen and the controller. Because I'm going to be honest,
especially when you know they're big balls, Ned.
Yeah, exactly.
We had a last second bet, dude. Pardon me, 62% Reepsy and 38% Big Balls Ned. Must have been the last 5 seconds that someone got that bet. So someone was waiting for that betting line to kind of come through. And they're looking at trying to make some money right there off Big Balls Ned. But this has been a close fight. Reepsy's been, in my opinion, Reepsy might have won that round one. It was a very, very close round. But from what I remember so far, he kind of did a bit more damaging shots. See Ned coming on now, Reaper.
Yeah, indeed. And I will say another thing. It's nice to see Ned picking a 4-star fighter. A couple of weeks ago, I fought Ned and he went Bobby Green. So it's nice to see him taking this one a little bit more seriously, and I'd love to see Ned do well. And he is doing well. He's doing well right now, Doc. He's starting to now dictate the pace, starting to take the center cage, starting to push his pressure. And he can't allow himself to get caught up against that fence, not against a Prohaska.
Yeah, Prohaska is just a very dangerous man to get caught up in to any extent and digs down to that body there. And he also fires there and very just careful and patient. I think this is the best way for Gustin to go here. Making sure you're patient, very calm, just so you don't get caught and look for any shots to come into him instead here, Reaper.
Oh!
Big shot right there.
Yeah, you're spot on, Doug. It's a very methodical pace, right? It's very slow, it's very burning, and it's one of those when you do fight in the heavier weight classes, one mistake can end the fight, humble, right? So you have to respect it and be patient with these guys using the heavier weight classes.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I've noticed as well about Reepsy compared to Ned, if you look at Ned and Reepsy's stamina bar, when Reepsy throws his shots, he's usually got full stamina bar. He starts his combinations when his stamina bar is full every single time. Whereas you'll see Ned kind of throw sometimes when his stamina bar's halfway, he'll throw other times. And what that means is when Ned misses, he's going to lose more stamina because he's got less stamina when he's throwing than Reepsy is. And he's also going to have less impactful shots at the end of those punches because his shots aren't fresh. They're coming off it when he's got half stamina, when he hasn't got the full stamina. And that's what Reepsy's capitalising on at the moment. Ned's got to be careful because if this goes 3 rounds, later on in that 3rd round, that's going to really favour GB, Doc.
Yeah, mate, if you just can't keep your stamina up, that's when the vulnerability window opens up, and that's how most of the damage comes up. Although, as I say that, the head health and body health of Reepsy's is definitely low, and that's making you feel like if Ned can do a bit more damage to that body, maybe he can get a body stun, he does stand a good chance of reducing that stamina to be similar levels and making it a much closer fight than it is.
Yeah, and he's definitely made it look like a close fight here in the 2nd round. Oh, wow, Ned. Oh, Ned, you need to get out of the pocket, brother, when that's happening. Ned is choosing to stand still and eat that combination. Ned had room to circle off there or even lean back or dip or even, hell, Ned, shoot a takedown, mate. It's there.
I think he didn't expect the amount of punches to come from Jiri, but that's where your veteran savvy's got to come in as well, Reaper. When you know it's 10 seconds left to go, you've got to know your opponent's going to kind of throw a Hail Mary kind of combination at you, and that's why you've got to push your arm out and kind of back away with your arm out. You've got to make sure you're ready to duck that head kick if it's coming, things like that. And Ned kind of stayed in the pocket and was waiting for his opportunity to fire back and waited slightly too long right there. Could have given up the round. This could be 2-0 to Reepsy.
It's a close one, Doc, right? You kind of have to give Reepsy that round 2 based on that drop there at the end. Oh, but Ned says, I don't give a bollocks. I'm looking to win this fight. But yeah,
Well, Paraska comes back
my
looking to put
goodness.
this fight on already. Ned is just hoping to stay alive in some aspects, but Reaper...
Oh my God! What the fuck?
Okay, Ned.
That's crazy! What a knockout that was!
Oh my God,
One
Jesus.
punch.
Just perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Jesus, you know for a fact Reaps is going to be a bit pissed off with that. He was winning the first 2 rounds and then just Ned comes back and lands that clean
What Ned
shot.
does, it's what he does. Even when he's losing in fights against myself, he manages to come back, and that's what I think. Some people need like a round or two to kind of warm up, but that timing was perfect, Reaper.
It was, and you know what as well? It's going to sound so cliche, but that was genuinely his best punch of the fight.
Big shot.
I do agree. Now, we stay on the PlayStation side, but this time around, we end up seeing Karts versus Assassinino War in the welterweight division. Both of these guys, I think, are on wins. I know Karts got a win over Bold Billy, but it looks like he's going to go as the same pick he went last time around with a McGregor. Assassinino War, on the other hand, looks like he's going to go GSP, but not 5-star GSP, which is interesting to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. Carter's currently ranked number 17 at 2-0. So yes, you are correct. He's undefeated at this moment. He was top competitor last season. Young lad, I believe he's got his own camp reaper as well, which is, when you're kind of leading a camp, it's adding extra responsibility upon yourself to kind of generate and run those sort of camps. There's a lot of little back work and a lot of things to do each day, which takes away from that sparring, takes away from the mentality of just training on yourself.
Yeah, definitely. As you know, Humble, I also run TMM, so I can definitely relate to that portion of it. I don't get a lot of chance to spar or even play because I'm always kind of helping my lads out or giving them tips or watching their footage and helping them grow. And then, obviously I've got my other teammates there helping me as well. They're a great bunch of lads. But you're dead right. Come here, listen, Karts though, he's thinking I run a camp and I don't just want to run a camp. I want to run primetime. And he's making himself a great case in this fight to go 3-0. But as obviously he's coming up against a very, very skilled man in Assassinino War. And the War camp has really burst onto the scene here in primetime, has collected the primetime belt. They haven't lost a fight tonight yet. So maybe we'll see if Assassinino War can keep that going.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be able to do it going. But again, Karts is a very strong opponent. He's known, he's got fantastic. And that was a fantastic takedown shot there, Humble.
Yeah, definitely wasn't. I've been in a camp with Karts. I know how good he is. He's held me on the ground. He's got really good reaction time, really good at blocking certain denials. But he has picked a McGregor pick. And Assassinino's War's game is about mixing it up. It's about taking his opponent down. It's about making him work. He really wants to GSP Conor McGregor, as you would say, Reaper. But bets are on. You can get your bets in right now as this first round is underway. Both guys looking good at the moment. And it's an interesting one, Reaper, who's going to win this one and kind of put their dominance on the fight.
Yeah, it is, right, and it's kind of fitting as well, because I was just thinking about it here. When you think of the War camp, right, you think of the Conor McGregor picks, right, because they are all predominantly kickboxers. Now, when I think of Karts, when I first met Karts a couple of months ago, I believe it was, he was predominantly a wrestler. So these two men are kind of switching roles here, because Karts is a very, very solid wrestler and has fantastic submissions. That's how he defeated me. So it's nice to see these two kind of switch game plans for the night, though.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's a case of one man's grappler is one man's striker, whilst another man's striker is another person's grappler. It just depends on the matchups, depends who you're fighting. Sometimes you see that you can out-grapple one person, but you can't outstrike that person. In other cases, though, that person can out-grapple and can outstrike one person, but can't out-grapple them, and so it's the case of making sure you read your right opponent. In this case, though, Kart does get the reversal, and with McGregor's power and GSP's chin, you could do land a couple of good shots. Even in something like top mount, you can do some damage here, though. He's holding half guard side control now, holding side saddle as well, Humble.
Yeah, ding, ding, ding. Doc's words of advice right there. The wisdom paragraphs of Mr. Doctor there. You got to take them in. But beautiful. Carter's starting to grapple now, which is very interesting. And I tell you what, he's got a really good denial game, as we're seeing right there, Reaper. He can really pick up on his opponent. I kind of first learned against this against Jiu-Jitsu, when he used to hold me inside control with strikers, pre-deny the position I was going, and just pepper away at my head with elbows from the ground, and that really helps the striking later on in the rounds because your head helps being tucked. You do that a few times around and early on, the striking becomes easy on the feet because the head's gone.
Yeah, of course it does. You know, in an ideal world for any fighter, if he was a grappler, he could grapple for 2 rounds and work down the head health and then stand for the whole entire third round. But obviously in this fight, Karts is going to want to look to stay on the feet, and he had some success grappling there, so he always has that to go back to rely on. The one thing I find weird that Karts is doing right now is he's actually an orthodox, and he misses a spinning kick. Jesus Christ.
Missing a spinning kick at the end round, you've got to imagine that is either fantastically done by Karts or pure luck, and I couldn't tell you which is which, especially if he did land that. I expect a knockdown in favour of GSP. However, we're now into round 2.
No respect, Doctor. Talk about it. No respect.
No respect.
I love it. Animosity between a round, you know, your friends at the start. We've seen Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier kind of go through this, but it was during a fight camp, during a fight when you both touch gloves at the start, and all of a sudden during that round you're not happy with how your other one's played. This could get ugly real quick, Reaper.
Yeah, I don't know if these guys had respect for each other before this fight, but I tell you now, I am going straight into that fight channel after this one because I want to know what's being said. Yeah.
Oh, it's my favourite. Nice work right there. Back to you, Doc.
Oh, well, look, if you look at both of them now, they're just being fairly patient on the feet. GSP doesn't want to shoot a takedown just yet. He feels fairly confident on the striking. However, we all know McGregor's striking has a power, has a kick to it. They've one fuck up and you could be dead to rights. You saw that in the last fight with Ned, and all you need is one shot, one kill can really do it. One overextension, but so far GSP, when he's making mistakes, he's making them just outside of the range that even McGregor can't counter them from here. Reaper.
I've got someone in my ear right now telling me these two are quite respectful of each other as well before this fight, Reaper, which makes it even more interesting that they've kind of, the fighting style has kind of made them angry with each other.
Yeah, come here. Look, when the fights get announced and you get your opponent and you know it's hey you ban and all the stream. Yeah, hey man, it's going to be a great fight. Let's have a great fight and put on a show. Oh, the second you punch someone in the face, oh, suddenly you hate each other. It happens to me all the time. I could be best friends with someone and then they punch you. I'm like, oh my God, I actually hate you now. Okay, now it's time for war. Like,
well, sometimes it's honestly just a case of their play style grates on you. It's like, okay, you're fine. I like you. I like you outside of this, but your play style I just hate. And you can just kind of tell that from Carter's. Carter just slowly getting more annoyed. You can see how much more aggressive he's getting. Was GSP hoping for any type of shots here and knee there.
Oh, big shot! Goes back to him, tries to hit him with a head kick right there. Sorry, Doc, to interrupt you, but he hit him with a huge sledgehammer to the midsection, the bread basket right there. GSP, assassin, war fighting on the foot again with GSP. I'm waiting for him to shoot some more takedowns, kind of mix it up against Conor McGregor, because Carter's chasing into him as well, Reaper. He's kind of following and plodding along, that's your opportunity right there.
McGregor shoots a fucking takedown and gets him straight onto the ground, and that is the way you want to do it against a GSP. Does get up though, making you think it's probably accidental, and a flying knee there, a rear hook follows suit, and both of these opponents so far, Reaper, seems to be not wanting to let up in either pace, and with McGregor slowly leading in terms of stamina, I could expect the third round being one of the most crucial, if it makes it there.
Yeah. And you're spot on as well there, Doc. You hit the nail on the head. It's all about that stamina war, right? And when have you ever seen a Conor McGregor ahead in the stamina battle in a welterweight fight?
This fight, it seems like.
Yeah.
Well,
this isn't the only one.
When I think about this, Reaper, like with Conor McGregor as well, how many people can hit that body really well with Conor McGregor, which drains that stamina? And I think that's what, as Carter's kind of done well with the grappling, one of the things he's adapted and changed is we've seen it against Megatoni, the straight, the 1-2 straight has been coming thick and fast from Assassin's War, and you see him slipping off that centre line a lot. He's coming off, catching him with a shot before he throws that rolling thunder, and he's catching him with the hook coming forward now as well. So he's making adjustments to his opponent, and that's why Carter's a great player.
I mean, a rolling thunder.
Yeah. Exactly. Carts is out for blood now. There's something that Assassinino War has done in his playstyle that has either really pissed Cards off or it's just made him super frustrated. But I suppose like it could work if Assassinino
Well, that's a lovely
There you
front
go.
kick.
There you go. I was about to say if Assassinino work and keep playing the way he's playing and really piss off Cards, he might make a mistake. But yeah, Humble, there you go. So now, how would you score this fight now?
Oh, a big one. I don't
Oh,
know.
he
You
sends-
always still. Arts has got to be careful, but I've also seen some jibing back and forth between some of the war members in the chat, kind of saying stuff about Carts. So maybe this is a rival versus rival camp thing that we don't quite know about. They're kind of respectful, but once they start fighting, a new camp coming through in a team like War that's been around for as long as KIA, and if not longer, these guys have been nearly about a year and a half. They've been associated with UFC sports at the moment, and it's big to keep that reputation. And Carter's trying to steal that right
He's
now with his
got the
team.
overhand, looking to get the finish now, going through it, and no health exists.
head health. Took 4 shots with
GSP
no health.
hoping for something. A knee there, doesn't get it. Now putting the pressure on. Elbow gets fired there. 2 minutes 40 left on the clock. Digs down to that body. Now Karts is so patient, just waiting for the head movement. Does get the body shot, but that isn't much if he can't get the finish. Who knows if they're up or down or which way the judges have scored. We've had some interesting decisions already, and so if I'm Carter or GSP, I want a KO here.
And do you know what I really like about Cart Reaper? When he doesn't like someone and when he's like hurting them and when he's winning the fight, he doesn't bust, he doesn't jibe. He might say no respect and other stuff, but he tries to get the job done. He tries to finish his opponent. There's real resentment there. There's no kind of backstepping in Carter. He will try and do everything to finish you, and doesn't matter if it's a cage knockout against the fence with a few punches. He just wants to win this fight.
Yeah, well, Cards takes the esports scene very, very seriously. He's a young man. He's in the prime of his career. He takes it very
That's a way
seriously.
to
He
put him
wants
down.
to be. He does want to be the best, and as we all do. So he does take it very seriously. The one thing I'm very, very impressed with that Cards has done tonight is use Conor McGregor in orthodox for the majority of the fight.
Something he must have seen.
Goes for the side control. 33 seconds left on the clock. Neon Belly does get denied. Maybe a couple elbows to close out the round. Does get denied there. Elbow there, just working down that head health, which is blinking. But I think that miss may be the end to tonight's fight. No, maybe we get the finish. Nope. Out of stamp.
Carts is going to go for the couple of a few more grinding shots right there. But good fight from both guys. Be interesting to see the decision. I think Carts might have won the second and third. Very close fight though. But I think that Conor McGregor style, a few rocks, a few more damaging shots, and it was a good fight. Good knock, as we'd say, Reaper.
It was a great knock. I'd like to see both men after this now kind of make up, and I can't lie. I'm going to have to dip my nose into the fight channel just to see what's going on.
Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. But in the main chat, you can see Marshall Rival Wall saying, "You fake love touched him, you little fart," right there. So maybe it has something to do with that, and that's exactly where that might be something a little push right there.
Oh, God. Well, Carts takes the win. I didn't get to hear the judge's decision. Hopefully we get to see the fight stats.
It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? He did a good job, Carts.
He did a good job. This is very
Big
good.
love touch might have helped him out. You get in your opponent's head a bit. It sometimes plays in your favour. That's exactly what Conor McGregor's known for. So he's kind of living up to that character right there, Reaper.
I love how much that does really piss people off, though.
I love it.
It's funny though, like, isn't it? Like, it's like when someone just fake love touches you, you genuinely do rage because you take it as such disrespect. You're just like, you little bastard, you.
Yeah, you definitely do. And sometimes it's for the benefit, and sometimes it's not. It depends on how you kind of fight, but nothing in the fight. GG from both. That's hilarious. It seems like the chat's the only one kind of blown up at the moment, even though they're kind of arguing for each other. I believe the next fight is going to be a banger as well. Doc, what a fantastic fight we've got right there. And just to point out, Carts now goes 3-0 undefeated, and Assassinizzo's who was 3-1, who ranks 18th and Carts 17th, is going to go 3-2. But Carts is going to fly up that division right now. Possibly a massive fight in the future for him, for a big contender spot.
That's always nice to see. One big win can really dictate which way you're going.
And fight, I believe they're just getting their
Yep.
They're getting their shorts on still. Someone poured water on them, Reaper, and they're a bit wet. They're stood in front of the hand dryer at the moment, trying to get them shorts not wet, so they don't feel heavy when they're moving.
And
Nah,
I think they had
that's fair
dried their
enough.
shorts off. They ended up being stuck in front of a radiator. And so, with that being said, we end up with TMF Chris versus EK Maceo in the middleweight division. I think this is one of our first middleweight fights of this evening.
Might be, yeah.
It
I
is.
can't
It
remember
is.
another one.
No, yeah, it is. It's our first middleweight fight of this evening.
Good stuff. The betting lines are going to be open any second now, so do place your predictions as these two warriors go at it. You're going to have 2 minutes to do so, get involved as we move forward with this one. But looks like we're going to have a Robert Whittaker pick as well. Obviously, one of the most favourable characters on this, but he's going to be fighting Maceo, who he's going to pick Vettori, who's got great wrestling, good boxing. I believe Bulldog as well, Reaper.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and do you know what I'm really surprised about? That the Robert Whittaker pick wasn't banned. I'm
Yes,
very, very surprised about that.
I mean, that's
though.
why it's there as well.
Very, very shocked at that.
I think Doctor might have got caught up with that tree, but we'll revive him back.
I found the ladder, I climbed back down. Yeah, Whittaker is typically the fighter you want to ban in this case. A fake glove touch into a front kick, though, is a hell of a way to start this off. Vettori does offer very good, effective grappling and submissions. If you're Whittaker, on the other hand, you're going to be wanting you can go anywhere, really. Probably most likely on the feet. You've got the recovery as well here, and so that's kind of the main style here, Reaper.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Robert Whittaker is very, very good everywhere. But, Vettori, he still has that power double, that power single to put Whittaker on his back. And as I say that, it's Whittaker putting the shot down, Humble.
Yeah, he's making the first mark. He's letting Maceo know. You've got the grappler. You come forward. I'm going to take you down. You got to worry about this as well. And I've really noticed Maceo came out flying. He's really pumping that straight hand down the middle. He's changed stance now. He's fighting in southpaw, and he's now starting to fight with his lead hand. But he was really pumping that straight in the face, trying to get Whittaker to worry and react to that. And it's a real piercing shot down to dock down the middle if it lands properly.
Yeah, if the shots lands properly, that straight is so key to the entire game plan. The main factor about that straight, though, is making sure you got a good jab, because if you build that jab and then you fire that right hand straight behind it, a lot of the time that's going to be the one. So far, Maceo staying fairly patient on the feet, coming in and out, but looking just for the key shots, while Chris here is just having that bit of difficulty making the reads, looking where he wants to be firing the shots, because so far he's landing them cleanly, but at the same time he's just struggling to really time it, I feel like.
Yeah, he is 100%. Vettori is he's really pumping out that jab, right? And we talked about this a little bit earlier on, Humble, with the jab straights, right? But if you're noticing there, he's actually mixing in the jab straights with the jab hook, which does put Robert Whittaker at a disadvantage for the head movement, because you have to remember, Vettori might be a little less powerful than Rob, but he still has power to knock you unconscious.
Yeah, 100%. It just looks like, when we talk, you hear people talk about it a lot more in the UFC and stuff. He's the busier fighter, right? He's doing a good job here and there, but he's just throwing a lot and catching Maceo a lot more than Maceo's catching him at the moment, because the shots he's throwing aren't typically complicated. They're very simple shots. He's just throwing a lot of them, making his opponent walk into them, and it's either landed on the block or it's landed on his opponent. So he's not kind of whiffing his shots, and that's exactly what Connor's he's got to do that. He's got to make, not Connor, Whittaker's got to do. He's got to make him miss. He's got to make the movement of Whittaker count, as I say that.
Oh, that's your difficulty. Lovely job, but it seems like it's an uphill battle for Chris. Marvin Vettori is just having so much more success here with Maceo, and it's a very uphill battle.
It is, and the thing about Maceo is the one thing I've liked that he's done throughout this entire fight is when he has been clipped or he has been rocked, he's always found his counter. He just knows. If there was any more than 2 seconds left on that clock, he was going to sleep, Humble.
Oh, he was staring at his bum right there, just ready to practice. He literally just stared at his bum like a grizzly bear, like he just literally crouched down. And if he jumped up right there and landed that right hand, he would have been petrified. But Vettori got away with it right there. But Great fight so far from Maceo. There's something I've quite noticed with a lot of the veterans, Doctor, especially the guys who've been in big camps for a long time and seen great players come and go. Maceo is a very calculated striker, but he sticks to his game plan, right? He throws things very well. He knows time, he knows distance. He knows how to break someone down as well. He knows like the opportunities where he can and can't throw. And it's nice to watch it because you can tell he's a veteran of the game.
Well, that's kind of what happens. After you've been in so many fights, you realise coming in there balls blazing like a mental person, it's fun. It's fun to watch. It's fun to play. However, when it comes to winning, normally a 50-50 chance. If they're competent, sometimes less. It's about making the adjustments as you go, working down the base of the building to then open up the key openings and finding those little holes, finding the vulnerability. That's why a lot of the time the best strikers work that stamina, because as soon as that stamina's gone, you're out. And that's kind of what he's doing here. He's doing it to a less extent. More, he's just finding big counter shots, and Whittaker's having difficulty really finding any holes to really come back into here, Reaper.
Yeah, 100%. You know, Maceo, he's just from the opening bell, right? From the start of round one, he found his range, he found the shots, he found the counters, he found when to throw, when not to throw, and it's really given Robert Whittaker a hard time here. Not to say now Robert Whittaker's out of this fight because he still carries that Aussie power. But Maceo is just operating on a different level tonight. It's so fun to watch if you're a fan, Humble.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's going to be a lot of fans watching right now, but just got to go back to the betting lines earlier on, and you've got, I believe it was 83% of the people bet on Chris to win this fight. So 17% that bet on Maceo right now are looking pretty as Maceo starts to land his opponent, but gets taken down. Might be a smart decision, Doctor. Take him down 2 minutes in the second, try and get some dominance in this round, try and get some denials, and really try and put your opponent.
Well, that's some heavy ground and pound does get reversed there. Fantastic job by Maceo, making sure that even when he overextends, he can still get a counter. And now in top mount gets denied here, and this is dangerous. You've got an armbar, you've got a ground and pound, and he goes for the ground and pound approach here, Reaper. Jab straights, lead hooks. You remember BFAP used to be part of EK, and so their overall ground and pound probably improved since they last did it. And so we're only a minute left. You're still in a dangerous position. We've got Marvin Vettori on top of you. Probably is a better grappler overall than someone like Robert Whittaker, who's just a good all-round fighter. And here you see it really land. Although Maceo decides to disengage.
Yeah, 100%. And I was thinking the same thing there, Doc. Why wouldn't you have gone for the submission there when he had denied that transition? And it's a simple reason being he's worked the head health so much this fight. Like, he's predominantly tonight being a headhunter. And maybe he feels like Marvin Vettori has the hard ground and pound to get the fight out of there. But now, as you guys can see here, Chris is now pushing the pace, and he's pushing it fast as he realises he's down 2 rounds there, Humble, and he does need a finish. I think Chris is going to come out here in this third round and unleash hell for leather.
If there's anything to go by the end of that second round, Chris has kind of realised, I need to go forward. I need to go forward. I need to actually move forward and press my opponent back, because at the moment I'm letting him just work. I'm letting him push him back with a jab. I need to get in his face and push him back to the fence and try and land some damaging shots, because the only way you're going to catch him is if you get him pinned against that fence and you land a good combination. He can't move, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's stepping on his toes, Doctor. He's trying to cut that angle off and make his opponent, but he needs to cut the angle off.
No, that's nice. That's nice. And now he goes to the ground and pound attempt here. It could stand good to reason. Does get a lovely block and a reversal. The full stamina of Vettori is massive here. Low stam on chairs, and this is a fantastic reversal. Gets us done. Looking to the ground pound and gets the finish.
Whoa.
Why wouldn't he block?
I do not know, but great work from Vettori. He did a good job, but he might have been. I'm not quite sure what was going on right there, but Maceo had a great performance in that entire fight. He did the work that he needed to do. He pressed his opponent. It was a great win against a good opponent as well. It wasn't a bad opponent. Maceo's a fantastic player, so great job for him right there to do that.
Yeah, Maceo looked great tonight with that Marvin Vettori pick. He really utilised his stand-up very, very well. He's probably been the best person I've seen use Marvin Vettori standing-wise. He just got his range. He just knew where Marvin was supposed to be working and where to be relaxing. And Chris, he's had a tough night, but Chris showed promise. Chris showed great promise in the end of round 2 and the beginning of round 3. It's only if he had to move forward a little bit more sooner, he could have got a bit more chunk of damage done.
Definitely a good fight for both guys. It was an interesting one. He's going to push him up the rankings, Maceo. I believe he's currently 2-2, and that's going to take him to 3-2 in the division. But next fight we're going to have, Doctor, it's going to be the core main event of this evening. I believe you might have already talked about these guys, but it's a fantastic fight ahead of us. Can you break this one down for us? Maybe I am wrong.
Yeah, evidently Doctor does not want to talk to you.
He's up the tree again, I'm telling you. Like, he keeps talking about other people up the tree, but sometimes Doctor's up that tree and he needs to get himself out. That's all I'm saying, Reaper.
This is what happens when we send people to go get the fighters out of the tree. I've never been to this magical, mystical tree. I must visit it one day, Humble.
Yeah, definitely. But let's talk about the fight. I can give a breakdown for this fight. I can give a bloody breakdown for this fight. We've got Jakey Rank, number 7th in the division. He's currently 7-4 in the Xbox division. This win, if he wins today, could push him right up there in the mix. Badinator has been absolutely phenomenal so far. His next opponent is going to be either a Remax or Trixie. So, there's going to be some guys in front of him. He's nearly took out everybody in that top 5, top 6 division. When you've got Jakey coming along right there, he'd love a matchup against Badinator, and in his way, 3-1 on the rise, Boss Man number 19 is going to be fighting him. Kind of a little bit of a prospect coming forward, but he's got a tough contest in front of Jakey. Reap.
He does indeed, and that's a banging name as well, Boss Man. You don't call yourself Boss Man unless you're able to scrap. So he's confident in his skills, But as you said there, Humble, Jakey is a very, very grizzled vet, a part of the BFAP camp. So he's a fantastic wrestler. We already know he's a self-made striker, Doc. So this fight is going to be close. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I think we're going to get drops and rocks for days here.
Well, Bossman came through his division. He got 2 wins, and ended up fighting Leaks of all people, and that was a tough fight in half. He did lose it sadly, but Leaks isn't an opponent to scoff at, and now he's fighting BFAP Jakey, a grappler turned striker, using Poirier, who does also offer the ability to grapple. McGregor, on the other hand, striker through and through. We've seen this guy plenty of times, and I imagine we will have to see him once more after this. So both of these fighters are already going at it, very methodical, getting that jab established, and so far, Humble, neither of them just seems to be just having that feeling out process.
Yeah, of course, they're going in there seeing what's what exactly. It is a 3-round fight, we've got to remember that as well. We will see this fight again, which is, I don't know how we've got this fight back to bloody back, considering the reason we used to do these bloody picks is to keep them away from each other, especially weight classes. But Jakey B is going to be looking to take his head off, obviously, that Poirier pick. You got the leg kicks there as well, but if you are Bossman, if you're Jakey at the moment with Conor McGregor, you're going to be looking to try and go to the body, and Bossman the opposite with Poirier.
Yeah, 100%. If you bring home that body, the hands will fall, and that will open up the head. And we do know McGregor doesn't do well under the pressure of a strong man like Poirier. But then again, Poirier doesn't do well against people like McGregor, who can clip them behind the ear and then send them into the nether region, Doc.
Yeah, well, it's just going to be the case of who has the better overall striking. You see Jakey already establishing those teeps, so slight work in the body, does block the jab, but the elbow there does get clipped with a hook back. Both of these opponents know how to counter each other, know the core shots, understand the high-level striking ability that you need to really do it, and so far neither of them really taking a step back or really leading it. It's kind of just this back and forth, tug-and-war type of style here, Humble.
Yeah, definitely. And Reap, I want to talk about something. I am so surprised in the chat today that 12,000, 100% of the bet is going to Reaper at the moment. Nobody's capitalising on betting on Bossman, and Bossman's landing some big shots at the moment. He's got Conor McGregor, that puncher's chance, at the same time the skill, the record that he currently has. It's crazy betting line at the moment in the chance.
It is, and you know what it is as well, right? The thing I find most funny about that is a lot of people will write off a Conor McGregor now when they come up against Dustin Poirier, because they just assume Poirier has the power, Poirier has the stamina, and Conor McGregor really does lack stamina in a way. You have to play him really patient and really smart. But fun fact for you, Bossman is actually Irish and he's using an Irish fighter. So there you go, Doc.
Well, it's also an interesting note. The body out for Jakey's going down a lot. Is going down effectively, going down slowly. He's not playing too aggressively. As I say that though, he gets clipped to the hook and ends up with a knockdown, the takedown there. 50 seconds left on the clock. Maybe he'd be able to get a comeback here. But so far, apart from that knockdown, McGregor's had the most effective striking. I feel like he's worked the head a bit more. He hasn't worked the head particularly well, both of them fairly even. But the body, on the other hand, is where it's all been made for with McGregor, I feel like.
Yeah, and I like to say, Doc, it's money in the bank. You know, you're putting that money in there and you take it out later on, because in that third round that's going to be dangerous. But it's the same with the head help as well, Reaper. When you go to the head help, a lot of times it doesn't accumulate back. You know, you put good work in for later rounds, and the head can be just as important as the body. So this is a race at the moment. It's a horse race between two guys aiming for a body part. It's whoever can kind of capitalise and neutralise that body part first that's going to win this fight.
It is, and it really is power versus power. And you know, as you guys can see there, the Conor McGregor head health is still coming in pretty low, and Jakey's is a little tiny bit higher, so he's got a good replenish between rounds. Now he's had his sup of H2O and he's replenished himself, but you know, if, the way Bossman has used McGregor, frankly, he's used him to the point where he needs to. He's counter-striking, he's planting his shots, and he's trying to get out of the range. But with Jakey's just so good at addressing the situation. And Humble, you'll know this better than anyone, is when someone can address the situation that you're trying to put on them, when they can just, you know, reverse. And it doesn't matter, I shouldn't speak. Yeah, address.
Situation.
Yeah, here is my address.
Well, Jakey instead uses his grappling pedigree, taking it straight down. As soon as he got that body stun, he knows that life may get a bit difficult, and so let's take it down to the ground. Let's make it dirty. If you're going to win on the striking, I'm going to take it down, and I'm going to look to win on the ground, because sometimes that's the case to go. If you mix it up, just you can find more shots open in some cases on the ground, and that can lead to the striking becoming more open, because it just puts them off centre, because they've just spent 5 minutes just on the ground looking for certain ways to get up, looking to play a defensive game, and then suddenly you're on the feet and you're having to do offense and defense at the same time here.
Yeah, definitely. It's also trying to neutralise that grappling advantage, the stamina advantage, trying to kind of bring back some of the body work in. Poirier's body hasn't been the best, so you know you can go back to the body kind of free of charge when he's on top of Bossman at the moment. And Bossman, he can't be throwing them hellacious combinations when he's on his back, Reaper.
Yeah, no, he really has to remain patient, because we all know that Jakey B is a sensational grappler, right? He's not in the build for ankle picking camp for nothing, and we already know he's a well-established grappler. So for Bossman, he really needs to not make a mistake as he gets up there. That's great work there, and now he's back on his feet where he can have his success, where he's had his success in this fight. What he needs to not do now, Doc, in my opinion, is trade, because I'm looking at that head health, and one jab is going to send that blinking. So he just needs to remain calm. He still has time. He can still work in this fight.
Yep, still working very slowly. You've got the issue with that time is the longer it goes on, the more sketchy it gets, because the longer it goes on, the more damage you both accumulate, the more difficult it is to trade. I think Bossman's got a feel for that body kick. He had success with it that first time, but the question is, can he do it? Can he do the right counter to land it or not? With 30 seconds left on the clock in his second round, Jakey looks like he's sticking on his pressure, looking for Bossman to overextend to then get the counter just with the way he's throwing, and he does get fired there, Humble, but this seems like it's going to come to an end of the round one. Again, that body kick though, and an uppercut there.
Beautiful camera right there. He waited for his opponent to land. Oh, he gets him on the floor. Wait for his opponent to land right there, and it's you do this in boxing a lot. When you feel an opponent at your arm at the side of your chest, you instantly kind of throw a punch back and react, because you know they're going to be in range every single time. That's exactly what he did there, Reaper. He waited for that punch to kind of connect to him, and instantly he fired an uppercut and caught him clean on the end of the chin right there.
Yeah, it goes back to being in the boxing ring, doesn't it, Humble? You roll with your opponent's punches to land your cross punch and connect with the most damage. But as you guys can see here now, Bossman coming out very, very hot in this third round. He believes he may need a finish, and he's doing some great work here, Doctor. But you know, Jakey, I feel like he's just waiting on that one big counter, Doc.
Now, one big counter is sometimes all you need just to really end the fight. The bodywork and head health overall by Jakey is low, but the head health of McGregor is all seemed to be lower. And Jakey's probably gonna. You've got to be really careful, your boss man here. There's no two ways about it here, Reaper.
Yeah, you have to be careful. Be on your P's and Q's, say your prayers, and then just hope the MMA gods are good to you here, because right now Jakey is taking over this fight. And that's not to say that Bossman hasn't done well. Bossman's done very, very well this fight. This fight was been very, very close, and it still is close. One shot from any of these guys, Humble, can end it or flash you or rock you, and it only takes one with these two lads.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, there's one person. There's a dozen people who bet on Jakey. One person put his money on Bossman, and that's 1% of the 99 bets that he got. So if he wins today, he's taking that 99% of money home on his own, and it's over 12k. So you know, but this person is rooting for Bossman. It's him and Bossman at the moment versus the world as he goes forward. The Bossman needs to do something different right now. He needs a combination of the body. He needs something to kind of come through, and Jakey is doing a great job of neutralising him at the moment, Doc, and making sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, Jakey's just putting on this pressure. He's always there. He's not necessarily throwing, but he's there, and it's making Bossman scared. It's making him want to throw, and that's kind of the issue when you're such a veteran striker. Sometimes pressure. You don't have to throw, just be there. If you're a target for their to throw, they're going to get over aggressive, or they're not going to know what to throw, and that is definitely seems to be the case when it comes to Bossman here. Like, he's scared to throw, and that clinch just did more damage to him. And again, you have the same issue. 1:30 left on the clock, and it's
Oh,
that was lovely. And that's a body stun, and that's a drop.
What a bait and a drop. That was a
99%
beautiful
of
bait.
People are panicking right now.
I don't know who's winning this.
Good fight.
This is a
Great
good
match,
fight.
mate.
It's
Great full main event for this evening. Both guys have showed up, and you know, it's a prime time guarantee that we get a great fight. We knew that, but it's a very competitive fight as well, Reaper.
50
no, it
seconds
is spot on. And
left.
I will say one thing. Sorry, Doc, to cut you off, but I will say this one thing: is I am going to be very happy for the winner, but I will also mourn. I will mourn for the loser, because these two men have shown that they're at the top of their game. They're both pulling for that top 5, top 4 spot in the rankings, and they are
this
showing.
could get neither of them have stamina to really do anything, and that is a call to the end of the round.
I mean, sums up everything there, Reaper. Both guys kind of couldn't even, the end, scrambling for offense against each other, you know, trying to get that last shot off, trying to make an impact on the judges' scorecards, and the rounds were close, they were thick and fast, and both guys had their moments. But tonight, the victor is all that matters. We can talk about who did well and who did what, but the point system will grace that winner with them extra points to push them up to division. We're about to find who it is, Reaper.
We will indeed, you know, and it's going to be a tough one to call. That third round, you can definitely get the Bossman because of that drop, and the third round's the most important, and it's going to go to Poirier.
29-28 or across the board. If
I'm happy for Jakey, but I'm gutted for Bossman. That's probably my fight of the night, and that's the fight that I really did not want to see a loser in. I feel for both of those guys. Absolutely elated for Jakey. He fought a great fight. Gutted for Bossman, because he also fought a great fight, but he will be back. He's only getting started here in primetime, Humble.
Yeah, he definitely is. Like, good fight from both guys, and it's Bossman goes to 3-2. There's a lot of people. It's something I noticed when I first came in, Doc. A lot of people who have records like 3-3, 4-4, 5-5, 5-6, 6-5. There's a lot of people who've lost a lot of fights, won a lot of fights, because the competition is so rough. It's so thick, it's so dense in the Xbox division in prime time. It's so tough to keep winning. You know, it's so tough to be a Fadinator, to be a Trixie, and that's why it's so impressive when you see these guys who dominate at the top.
Yeah, like, you have people. You look at these records, and you got 6-4, 6-2, 6-4s. You got 4-2, 8-4s. Even when you look at the best, which doesn't seem like the best records, but they are like the tip tops when you do fight these rankings. The only person who really stands out as the almighty people are the PS and Xbox champion with 11-1 for Fad, 6-0 for Trials War, and those types of guys are the guys who are champions for a reason. They are undefeated most of the time, apart from maybe 1 or 2 fights here and there, but the rest of them, They show up in dominant fashion, appear, and look to put on the pressure. They all main event, they all do 5-round events, and they know the score each and every time. Talking about main event, so we have Spartan War versus Johnny, the Icelandic warrior, looking to make a comeback from his previous fight against Charles War, who he sadly lost in dominant fashion, but he's 6-0. He's a champ through and through. We were just discussing him, so I don't think either of these people need introductions. You've both seen him about the place, and I say we get straight into this, Humble.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a good fight. We talked about it over and over again with Johnny kind of carrying that Icelandic flag on his back. He's probably the only esports UFC 4 player from Iceland that we kind of know, Reaper. And, you know, we all said it with Gunnar Nelson, as we said earlier on, carrying the Icelandic sport in the UFC. And it's so important because you get people like this in the esports community as well. And he's going to be taking on an absolute veteran in Spartan. It's going to be a tough task tonight to try and get through that in these 5 rounds.
It is. And, you know, Johnny really is the flag bearer right now, right? He's carrying that nation on his back. He's the only person I know from Iceland that is on the esports scene. But then again, you go into Spartan War, you know, he's been around for a while. I've fought Spartan loads of times. We've sparred multiple times. Definitely could be close to 100, you know. But, you know, I'd seen the record there, 5-1. We don't know how that pans out either, being spars, being, you know, little test and ping, right? That could be another thing, and then all that kind of goes into a fight to see how it lags out. But, you know, Spartan is no slouch when it comes to the esports. He knows how to use good fighters, and he knows how to use McGregor. He's a McGregor main, Doc, and he will put pressure on Johnny that he's never had before.
I feel like any high players in McGregor main, though. I feel like calling someone in McGregor main's kind of dishonest to McGregor. As I say that,
my
though,
goodness.
Johnny's putting on this pressure already. That block is gone. McGregor fights back.
This guy's going crazy right now.
Oh, okay. This is the type of fight we're looking at. If someone has a heart condition, you should definitely get your medication on side.
Yeah, definitely. And this could potentially be a number 1 contender fight. You know, these two guys are fantastic players. And Spartan up there trying to take Johnny's spot at the moment. Johnny being 5-1, and he's a fantastic competitor. The only person he's being rumbled by is the Spartans' teammate in the champ, Charles War, at the moment. So it'd be interesting to see which one of these guys can kind of come through. Maybe a bit of revenge in this one, Reaper.
Oh, come here, 100%. That is what it's about. He wants revenge. If he can't get revenge against Trials War, he will settle for revenge against Spartan War. But Spartan War wants to be the second man from that camp to send Johnny into an oblivion. He wants Johnny to become 6-2 tonight, Doc.
Yeah, and so close to each one, and this is a tough fight between the two of them. You saw already that you had the stuns, you had the knockdowns, and so neither of them's really shown who's leading the fight, apart from the fact that Johnny is really putting on the pressure here, landing the shots when he can, but McGregor's still got the power in the background.
Big shots right there. He's pressed him against the fence. The positioning at the moment of Poirier is key, Reaper. He's really bringing it to his opponent. He's trying to keep him behind that black line, trying to predict his movement. Good head kick there. And Spartan is another one. He's rocked right now, and Johnny could be trying to finish the fight, Reaper.
Yeah, you know, it's getting very, very close to the end here for Spartan War. And the thing I'm noticing mostly about this fight is Johnny came out hot out of the gates because he knows Spartan was in Trials War's ear, and he was asking him, hey, you know, when you fought Johnny, when you beat him for the belt in dominant fashion, how did you play him? And he was like, well, I came forward and I took the head clean off his shoulders. So Johnny is now using the game plan that Trials War used against him. And he's kind of like saying, I can do that too, to one of your teammates, Doc.
Yep, sometimes it's a case of just pulling out an armbar, it seems, and the escape's already going up fairly high. The red is doing a decent job, but it looks like he's going to have a clean escape pressure with 25 seconds left on the clock, possibly a slam as well. Doesn't get the slam, so that's going to be a good read, at least for Johnny. Like, he knows he's got the option. Like, you see that, and already he's halfway, and McGregor's just about escaping. If he does manage to land it once nicely, I was getting a bit concerned there, not gonna lie.
Yeah. But it's good knowledge, right? If you get that kind of knowledge for someone, you can kind of see where you're gonna get it from there, and that's exactly what you need. You need to kind of build that knowledge up so you can understand where you can go from the next fight.
Yeah, 100%. The next submission attempt, yeah, 100%. No, you're absolutely spot on, Humble. You know, and I'll tell you one thing: if that was Johnny, right, tracking a submission, if that was to solely track I fear for Spartan if he locks in a second armbar, Doc. Honest to God, because if he locks in a second armbar, he might get it.
Well, he's gone straight for the takedowns, and that's exactly what you want to do. You have got the Kimuras, you've got top mount. If he goes for that, does get denied there, and that's what you want. But now you've also got guillotines you can offer. Like a sprawl guillotine is probably one of the best submissions about the place. It also brings you to top mount if you don't get the guillotine itself, and to get down to about stage 3. So it's one of the most effective ones in the arsenal you could have. Now we see though McGregor trying to get there, playing this game, but again, Johnny's having some success. He's mentioned that jab, but he's not playing too aggressively. Every time he's getting hit, he's out of that pocket and looking to counteract straight afterward. And so he's making sure he isn't getting hurt too badly here, Humble.
Yeah, definitely. And both of these guys, Reaper, they've got some similarities, but they've both got one significant similarities on their record, which I don't know if you're aware of. And I don't know if you know what it is, Reaper, but I can tell you right now if you don't know.
No, you might as well tell me, mate.
Oh, well, I'll tell you right now, it's actually knocking out me. You know, these two guys have both
Everyone's
put
knocked
me
you
to
out.
sleep. And
Yeah, I was
these
about to
two
say.
guys, it's always champions. It's always champions, Reaper. And how dare you talk? But these two guys both knocked me out in spectacular fashion. Where I woke up a week later and thought I was dancing in a disco nightclub, but I wasn't. I was up a tree. And they're fantastic competitors trying to kill each other. As we move in the second round.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I will say one thing that it's getting me a little bit nervous here, Doc, and it's how low Spartan's head health is in the second round.
It's gone lower. The up kick does save him, doesn't get a drop on. A front kick, though, nearly clipped Poirier in half. And it does slip on the straight. If you find something, maybe a straight and uppercut, maybe you would stand a better chance here. The head health of Spartan War is definitely getting lower, but a spinning heel kick completely nullifies that. Uppercut, though, does land him, and now he drops him down, looking to gain the ground and pound. Does a good job there. That is careful, and he gets the finish.
He came back. He came back.
He came back. He came back and did a fantastic job there. That was impressive. That was clean. That was something, especially when you noticed how quickly Johnny was starting to get a pace. You saw the armbar and beginning that first round made it look a bit more sketchy. McGregor was definitely in trouble. That second round, just towards the end of it, you saw that Poirier got the stun. Poirier was very aggressive. He only justified by the up kick, and then he comes back, gets to walk down, and the head movement just isn't enough. The uppercut follows him, and that is lights out, giving Spartan the win.
Yeah, definitely indeed. Great fight for Spartan right there. I feel like Johnny's got to be kicking himself. I'd be so upset if I was Johnny right there. He had a fantastic job. He's got to hold his head high, but it's the winner that comes out on top at the end of the day. Reaper, and today it's Spartan War.
Yeah, man, but it's not just even losing to Spartan. He's lost to a war camp member again. That was kind of like his redemption fight. If you want to come out here and say, okay, your teammate beat me, but now I gotta get a chance to get one of your teammates out of there, and you lose to another war lad.
Yeah, it's
you know
a
what I
big
mean?
statement. You're right.
But it also puts Spartan War in a position now, because he's probably going to move up very, very close to that title shot, right? That his teammate holds.
Well, Spartan War gets put to 6-3. That definitely puts him in that title picture, top 10 at least. You got to imagine.
He's 12. So yeah, you're right. 12. He's got to move up. He's got to move into that position, and it's something that you've got to consider as well.
Yeah, top 12, maybe even top 5, honestly. And that's a very good position to be in, especially with the current landscape of the PS division. But
that was some card.
That was a conversation, though, Doc. The Trials versus Spartan in the future is an interesting question, and we've got to. We'll come to that when it comes to that. But at the same time, that's a great card we've had tonight.
I mean, we've had Bullcut Bully versus the younger brother of Rob Font. You've had Lepo come out. You've had Maceo and Chiss. You had Jakey and Bossman, and that's just in like 3-4 fights. And you had Ned appear getting his comeback KO. You had. I can't remember. It's been a long card, but it's been a fantastic card across the board.
Yeah, definitely. Join us tomorrow as well, because we have more fantastic cards coming through. If you do want to join us, you do want to fight in this league, if you're a PlayStation or Xbox player looking on the outside, having a little peek in, not knowing what this is, welcome to Primetime MMA. Hit that link button and come and join us. We try and get everyone on a fight. Even if it's not heard on one of our live streams, you will get a fight. You'll be able to build your record up and eventually get a fight on one of our cards. And that's what it is. We're growing one of the best leagues in the world. We're affiliated with the ESFL, and our roster is growing every single day. Join us for the raid that's coming next, and join us tomorrow at the same time as tonight. Doctor, anything else you want to say?
Yep, join us tomorrow, 8:30 BST, 3:30 Eastern. We'll be back with Primetime MMA 55, main event of Trixie versus Cam Caliber, rank 3 versus rank 4, with a co-main including Leon Stoles and TM Ripe, both 4-4-0, looking to most likely have a number 1 contender fight for the title fight next week. With that all being said and done, stick around for the raid to the end, just like Humble said, and peace out.